All right. I'm all right. I'm recording right now. Good afternoon. Today is a part 2 of the test negotiation workshop. Last week we had a long discussion regarding a ERP implementation, and we looked at negotiation. What I took away from that session on Saturday was that basically there is, besides the numbers, there is a need to actually look at more in depth about different kinds of elements of negotiation, not just You think I'm in the screen right now?
You were in the screen. Oh, if you want to record this something.
No, I don't want to record myself. Actually. Oh, hiding. Okay.
What's that?
I can hide myself. Okay, I can put my face in there. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I'm hiding myself.
Why hiding?
No, I don't think anybody's waiting for my face to be in the image all the time. Today, actually, I would like to first start off with a different case, a case that is a little bit closer to some of us, or actually most of us, and it's a case that we're going to play open. There are going to be 3 parties involved. That is a patent holder, a patent dealer, and a patent buyer in the United States. So that's the case. There will be 3 negotiation parties, and different from the real life situation where you are going to make your own planning document with, for example, as a buyer, where you're going to put in your issues, the priorities that you set, the your BATNA, the reservation price, and your target, and then try to figure out what the other side's motivations are, what the other side's issues are, and what their BATNA is, for example, what their target is. Instead of doing that, I would like to skip that step, because I think that maybe the step is a little bit too big. From 0 to the workshop that we did last week. So I would like to play this one open. So we have full information, but still I think it will be quite challenging to reach a satisfying agreement that is satisfying to all 3 parties. Alright, so what is the case today? Like I said, patent holder, patent dealer, patent buyer. As you see here in the negotiation planning document, I have defined 3 issues. Issue 1 is price, of course. Okay, what?
Are you talking on the side?
I think I am. You cannot hear me any longer.
Yeah, yes, I cannot see the view shared.
Okay, let's see. I thought you were already shared. Maybe you're not.
I'll now share you the screen cast.
Alright, where? Okay. I thought actually Uno-san shared the screen because you were looking with the video, so I assumed that you were actually seeing the same screen.
Screencast.
Okay, you're looking at screencast, so you do not see this, the negotiation planning document.
No.
Okay.
You can share plus. You can put plus and switch sub. No, second. Click. No. Left.
Hey, it's not there. Wait, let's share your entire screen. Start. And let's see if this works right now. Do you see it now?
Yeah. this chart.
Do you see the negotiation planning document?
Right. Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, all right. So that's so we're all on the same page now. So basically, what we're going to do is a three-way negotiation, which I think will be, hopefully, will be a stylized form of the things that you need to consider when you are negotiating a patent deal. So we have three parties, not four parties, three parties. The patent holder has issues regarding price. So the objective of the patent holder is to get highest price possible for his patent. Then there is the scope of the patent. The scope of the patent is for the given price. He wants to basically limit the scope. That means that if you get a price of, let's give $1 million, then for that price you only want to give somebody the right in a limited, for example, geographical area. So in that case, so you want to sell as limited scope as possible for the highest price as possible, because that will give you the option to also sell to others. Like for example, in this case, we're talking about a patent buyer in the United States, so we can limit that patent to the United States or to North America, or we can talk about a patent that can also be sold in Europe or Asia. So it's in the interest of the patent holder to sell at the highest price for the limited scope, unless of course the price is so good that the scope should be enlarged. Then profit sharing. The issue is profit sharing. That is a matter of, okay, what are we going to do? Am I going to receive a lump sum irrespective of the success of the buyer, or am I going to make a deal where the buyer is actually going to share the benefits of my patent with me? So that's it's in the best interest of the patent holder to get as much possible money as possible right at the beginning, right? Profit share. So there's two possible ways that you can broker this deal. One is, okay, I'm going to sell you this patent for $1 million, right? That's it. I receive $1 million, deal closed, we go our separate ways. The patent holder can use the patent and make 1 million in profit, 10 million in profit, 20 million in profit, we don't know. Or we can say, well, I'm not going to give you any money up front. I'm going to give you the exclusive rights to use the technology in my patent, but in exchange for that, I demand 20%, 30%, 40%, 50% of the profit that you make. So that's another way of constructing it. And of course, there's a third scenario where you keep make a combination with a lump sum of, say, okay, well, I'm going to sell you the patent for $500,000 plus 20% of the profit share. That's another scenario. So yes. Is that a scenario that doesn't sound realistic to you? Well, basically, it's in the best interest for the patent holder to get the entire sum immediately, right? So if he can choose, of course, it changes a little bit if the price, because price is so the total price. So, okay, let's put it this way: in this game, you will see that there is uncertainty, and the uncertainty comes at a cost. So the higher the uncertainty is, the higher the price has to be of the rewards in the future in order to make it worth your while. So if I can choose for like $1 million right now, or the chance of 2 million, or the 70% chance of receiving $2 million in 2 years' time, is a tricky one. Okay, I cannot. You cannot. Okay, so there is a money that you receive right now. There is no risk involved, right? But if you do a profit share, then you can say, okay, well, I can get a 1 million right now, or I can take 1 million in. Or take profit share, and the expected profit share of 50%, and the expected profit is 2 million, so that's exactly the same. That's what you could argue, right? Because the expected, since the expected profit is 2 million, if I get 50% of that, then that's the same as receiving 1 million in my hand. But there's uncertainty, because we don't know as patent holder whether or not. What's more important, we cannot control whether the patent holder will actually make that kind of profit. So it's uncertain to the patent holder.
Sorry, the patent holder, I don't really get the difference. Those three people.
Okay.
The holder is the person who holds the patent.
Yes.
But doesn't use it.
That's the owner. That's the one who wants to sell it.
Owns it.
Yes.
Doesn't do any production or anything.
No. It just has the patent. That's the inventor. So it's not a company. They don't make anything. They just have the patent to a certain technology. They invested in research and development. They came up with a technology that works, and they got a patent on it. But they don't have the means nor the inclination to actually use that patent to start producing themselves.
So they're looking for someone to buy it.
Exactly. Exactly. And that is the patent buyer. And the patent buyer is located in the United States.
Yeah, I understand buyer, but who is dealer?
The dealer is somebody who is, because the patent holder doesn't have a good sales team nor access to the United States, so the patent dealer is somebody who is specialized in brokering deals regarding patents across the globe.
Oh, middleman?
Middleman. Yeah. So those are the three parties that are involved. So there's the patent holder, the patent dealer, and the patent buyer. So regarding the price, high price, of course, is better than a low price for the patent holder. That's clear, as long as they can make the deal. The scope, the smaller you can keep the scope for the same price, the better it is for the patent holder. The profit share, it is better to get your money directly in your hand at the same price than it is having to have uncertainty in the shape or form of a profit share. Right? Then going to the right side of this table, we have the patent buyer. Regarding the price, he wants to pay as low price as possible. Why? Because he wants to maximize his profit. The scope, he wants to have as large of a scope as possible, and for the same price. Because a large scope means, for example, a large geographical area, so not only the United States, but the entire North America, or the entire Americas, or maybe the entire world, a global patent. If that doesn't cost him more, then a bigger scope is better than the smaller scope. Third, regarding the profit share, yes, he would like to have the profit share because it will reduce his risk. There is a risk, of course, that if I buy a patent of 1 million and then it turns out that my market is completely different from what I expected, or there is a competing technology in the market that is actually superior to the technology that I'm buying, then I actually might lose just $1 million. So if that happens, then it's better that I'm sharing my profit, because if I'm not successful, I'm not paying. So my risk is significantly reduced.
Why dealer 1 million?
Oh, I don't write 1 million, but that's the bet now we will discuss later. Let's focus on this one. So these are the issues here. We're now just talking about this part. Looking at the middle part, the patent dealer. So what is the interest of the patent dealer? Basically, the patent dealer has an interest in a high price if he is rewarded for the profit of the seller, right? But he would be interested in a low price if he can get a profit share from the buyer. So that's not a clear case, the middleman. Regarding the scope, well, larger is probably better because it gives a potential assuming that there is he's not in the position to negotiate other patent deals. The larger the scope, the larger the money involved, the larger potential he has to make a good profit.
I mean, the relationship between patent holder and patent dealer is not so strong.
Basically, what it means is that the larger the deal is, the bigger the scope of the deal is, the more money will be involved in this deal. And the more money is involved in this particular deal, yes.
You don't think about other deals, like
No.
if you keep it small, like a patent holder wants, then you can maybe get other deals related to other countries.
It's possible, but what is the chance that I would be the one that's going to bring in another patent buyer? I'm not sure whether that will be, because there are other patent buyers. So the next deal I might be excluded. So for me, at this moment, it's probably best to create as large of a deal as possible. Yeah.
I don't know some price rule. Well, he's
Oh, we are talking
Dealer?
about this,
Patent dealer.
but we're talking about price and the dealer. So the dealer is actually, if he's only going to get money from the patent holder, then it's probably best for him to get as high a price as possible. Yeah. But if he's going to take money from the buyer, then it's probably good to have a low price, because that means that if he's going to get a profit share, for example, and he can get the patent for a low price, then that means more profit for the patent buyer, which means that he can, if he negotiates a 10% profit share, and the costs are lower, that means that he will get more in his hand.
It depends on which side you're.
From who you're getting money. So,
what's your concept?
are you going to get money from the buyer, or are you going to get money from the seller, and or maybe are you going to get money from both of them?
But how come your price low is better?
If the buyer buys a patent, let's say for $10 million, and he makes a profit he makes a gross profit of 12 million, then the only profit that remains is 2 million. Now, if he would negotiate a price of, let's say, not 10 million but 1 million, then the gross profit would be 11 million. Then 50% of, like 30% of that would be a much higher sum. So in that case, the low price that the buyer has to pay for the patent will give him more money.
I'm not sure if that it just means that which side you're.
Yeah, so, well, okay, let's keep it very simple.
Wait a minute, I don't clear definition. Patent dealer is the middleman. In this case,
Yeah.
usually this guy gets money from both sides.
That's usually, but you can choose, right?
Yeah.
Okay, usually middleman is two middlemen from buyer side and holder side.
Yes.
But this case is one person is bridging both people. So
Yes.
he will going to get money from holder side and buyer side.
But the person can choose, right?
Yeah.
To take money only from the seller side, or the middleman can take the money only from the buyer side.
Oh, this is
Or
real,
you can
the
take
same
from
as
both.
real estate dealing. Real estate dealing, if you're going to buy real estate, okay, they need to pay holder, selling side, buying side, they need to pay both sides, 3%, 3%. And this case is joint venture or selling some kind of sort of things. This case, dealer need to get money from both sides, 3%, 3%. Usually fixed price, but this is variable, right?
Yeah, but So, but if you would get a like 3% of the deal, right? So it's not, there's no profit sharing option.
You can also think of
It's
the
not
profit
an
sharing
investment.
option, right?
I would say so.
But
Maybe it's
we
not
haven't
common.
decided yet. So
So his question is absolutely valid, but that depends on what you're going to negotiate. Whether you're going to negotiate a profit share or a lump sum.
but isn't it all the same for the buyer and seller? Well, if the profit share is not determined yet. No?
No, it's not determined yet. It's what is the challenge here for the patent dealer is what is he going to push? Is he going to push for a low price or for a high price?
I think we need to define through the patent dealer. Okay, he's going to. He's actually responsible for negotiating how much going to sell to buyer. He's a holder.
We don't know anything else.
Well, in our case, to keep it a little bit simple, I made the assumption that actually what will happen is that the patent dealer will get 20% of the patent price from the patent holder.
Fixed.
From the patent holder.
Fixed.
Yeah. Because otherwise it will be a little bit too complex. So let's say that the patent is sold for $5 million.
Wasn't paid by holder.
So the buyer pays. Let's say the buyer pays $5 million for the patent, right? Then the
My question is, this patent dealer gets money from patent holder.
patent holder, yes. So
Not-
basically,
not buyer.
not from the buyer. Well, okay, well that's very BBO, of course, because what would happen is that if the buyer buys the patent for $5 million, then he could give the $5 million to the patent holder, and then the patent holder needs to give 20% to the dealer, right? Or the buyer could pay $1 million to the dealer and $1 million to the patent holder. It would be exactly the same. So basically, the buyer, whatever amount the buyer buys, it needs to be shared between the dealer and the holder, and that the dealer will get 20%, the holder will get 80%.
Buyer will take 60%. Who's paying for the? There's no cost in there. No,
For the transaction,
no, like initial cost for the patent. Like, so the buyer doesn't have to buy once the patent from the holder,
yes,
but just sells.
the buyer.
Is the person who only sells, so the buyer doesn't have to pay for the like fixed price for patent, the patent holder. That's what you mean, right? So initial cost is zero. So whatever it sells,
Yes.
you split 20% for
Yes.
dealer, and
Yes.
20% for holder.
Of course,
and
there.
60% for.
Of course, like basically,
That's
but
what-
all the money that has been put into the patent is already gone. That's sunk cost. So the actual profit that the holder will get, he will have to deduce all his research costs and his legal costs to register the patent. But basically, after he done that, it doesn't matter to him whether he sells it or not. He lost that money. So now whatever he sells, basically for him is profit. Look at it that way. So that money is already gone. So the challenge for him. So if he invested like 2 million or 3 million, let's say 3 million to get the patent, to develop the technology and get the patent, then and he would sell it for 5 million, then he would basically have to give 20% of the 5 million to the patent dealer. That's 1 million. So he will get 4 million. When if he invested 3 million, then his profit would be 1 million. Holder. Yes.
So there is no price that the patent holder is stating that this patent costs like.
Oh yes, it is. There is.
Worth this much.
There is.
That's
There
the
is.
BATNA?
That's where we going to reserve like
That
the
was
BATNA.
my
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let's move on. All right. That's a good point. So the BATNA is 5 million he could get for a global patent. That's what I have in my pocket. As a patent holder, if this deal falls through, I can sell this to another party who will pay me 5 million, but it's not a US patent, it will be a global patent. Right? That's his BATNA. He already has that.
Global patent means? What do you mean by?
A global patent means that basically the buyer can use that technology exclusively worldwide.
Is it possible?
Yes.
You have to register countries though.
There are global patents.
Yeah, but you need to register like.
No, we don't have this kind of system. But he said, okay, if you're going to sell to the United States, okay, you can use it within state. But the owner said, you can use it everywhere in the world. This is a holder buyer's contract. So actually, patent is just only the registered America, Japan, Germany, not all the world. But contract.
But the holder said
yes,
it's okay to use
Yeah.
it anywhere, so that.
yes.
So I will not sell it to anybody else. Yeah.
Of course, that
Yeah.
means it applies. Nobody else.
So he has a different buyer who he in exchange for exclusive rights globally, he can sell it to that company for $5 million. And it's actually the same patent dealer who will get a 1 million reward for that deal. Right. So,
That's why the button for a dealer is $1 million.
yes.
Well, I don't understand. Global 1 million is because of 20% of me.
20%.
That's what's agreed with the holder, right?
It's a 1 million.
Holder agreed.
Patent price is fees the dealer will get. If you want to sell 5
Yes.
million, the patent dealer can get 1 million.
Yes.
You see me?
Yes, exactly. So that's the deal that's on the table. That's a deal that they could have. If they would sign it, then basically he would sell his patent for 5 million. He would pay the dealer 1 million. He would take 4 million to himself, and that's it. That's the end. And so basically, case closed. He cannot. This negotiation will not need to take place then. Yeah. And what is the BATNA for the patent buyer in the U.S.? The BATNA for the patent buyer in the U.S. would be to copy the technology, and the cost would be 6 million. And he will have to pay 6 million in legal costs. Legal cost means that probably the patent owner will sue him. He may have to pay people off in order to make sure that he will be able to actually use that technology and sell his products based on the copied technology.
Or they can make another patent.
Yeah,
Similar.
Well, basically, if you are copying technology, right, then the patent holder will try to sue you. You have to protect yourself. You need to stall it. You need to do whatever you can in order to keep using your copied technology. In order, so basically, if he can't, the patent buyer, he can't buy that technology. What he will do is he will make his own technology, well, which is basically a copy of the existing technology, and he will have to incur 6 million in legal costs in order to make sure that to fight the patent holder.
So the first 6 million is to copy the technology?
Yes,
And the second 6 million in legal.
Yes, in legal
Legal.
fees. Yeah. So the
So
total
total
cost will be
12.
12. Yeah.
Ooh.
I don't know how much was expensive.
Mhm.
It sounds like this patent holder has a lot of
Yeah.
power.
He has a lot of
Big
power.
company.
Yeah. Assume that he has a lot of power.
Copy the technology. Why come cost me?
Because it's very difficult technology.
Okay.
Oh.
But that's the only partner they have
Yeah.
as a buyer. That means
Exactly.
they're in a really weak position.
They're in a weak
They really
position.
have to say yes. to
There's
whatever.
probably he probably needs to. He better buy this technology.
Yeah. Exactly.
You mean that he can buy at minimum 12 million.
Yes. Well, that's his bet now. But of course, that's the worst case. So that's what he would do if he has to buy. If he has to buy it for more than 12 million, then he would basically copy the technology. That would be worth his while. So this for him is absolutely worst case. So if he can actually make a estimated profit of 20 million, then still, if the patent holder would say, "Oh, you know what? I'm going to ask you for because he knows this. I'm going to ask you for 15 million because without my technology, you cannot make any profit. So why don't I ask something close to 20 million?" Or a little bit, so that still you would be making money, but I would be making a lot more. I deserve that because I am the patent holder. My technology is superior. It enables you to make that much make profit in the first place.
So the point is that we now know everything here.
We now know everything.
But in reality, we don't know. So
We don't
need
know
to
this.
figure that out.
Exactly.
So there is a possibility of the holder knowing that the buyer will cost like, more than 12 million
Mm.
if they want to use the same technology without patent.
Yes.
Then the holder can charge more than 12 million.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because it makes sense.
Yeah.
But if the buyer knew that,
It means so reservation price must be more than 12, less than 12 million.
It must be less than 12 million. Absolutely. It must be less than 12 million. So if the patent holder gets cocky and will ask for 15 million, then the patent buyer will say, "Well, forget it. I'm not going to play along with you. No deal. You can keep your patent." Then maybe he will sell it to as a global patent to another party. And then that other party will have to sue the patent buyer in the United States. So that's the BATNA. Now the reservation price is 6 million for a reservation price is basically the price that he wants that the patent holder wants as a minimum, that what he sees as a minimum fair price. Below that price, he is not going to play ball. Like basically, the 5 million for him is something that, okay, he has that in his hand. It's his BATNA, but he's not seriously considering to do that. He will say, okay, well, I'm going to invest my time, and I'm going to agree to this only if I can get 6 million for a U.S. patent or 9 million for a global patent.
why?
Oh, just
Where's the
define.
Reservation price. Reservation price.
Aspiration price or
Aspiration price is different. The aspiration price, that's the target,
Oh, okay. Reservation price
is the price that he wants out of this negotiation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So there's a BATNA, that's what he can get. Then there's the reservation
higher
price, that's
reservation
what
price.
he wants out of this as a minimum. That's the bottom line.
Did we have this last week?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
So
Is higher.
so the target is what he wants to get. So basically, his minimum price, the reservation price for a U.S. patent is 6 million, and I will show you how you can get how I got with these numbers. So 6 million is the minimum, and 9 million for a global patent, and he needs to pay 20% to the patent dealer. All right. Then there is the target for the patent holder. That's 9 million for a US patent, so that's 50% more. 18 million for a global patent, and minus 20% for the dealer, right? I think actually it should have been 12, but okay, I'm not 100% sure. The patent dealer basically wants a deal that will give a pretty high price to the through the patent holder, high enough for the patent buyer to accept it. So he will work with the patent holder to actually get a good price from the patent buyer. Now, if the patent buyer is not going to buy it, then basically the reservation price is that actually he wants to buy it for no more than 8 million for the US patent. Right, that's his bottom line. That's his maximum price. If it's more than 8 million, he will not buy the patent, the US patent. Right? If it is for a global patent, he's willing to pay 12 million. Right?
I have a question. For buyer US, in Batna, you have the copy the technology. It costs 6 million, right?
Yes.
The legal cost 6 million.
Yes.
Is it global legal cost or
Global
within
legal
the
cost.
United States?
Global legal cost. Total legal cost.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. So this can never be more than 12 million, of course. Yeah. Then the target is to buy this for 4 million for a US patent or 6 million for a global patent. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to look at the buyer.
Yes.
Oh, wait. Let's look at the seller first. Okay, so what does this look like? We have here the seller, and the seller here is US, Europe, the rest of the world. Okay, I forget about this. Well, let's make this all rest of the world. I want to merge these.
Why don't you just copy and paste this?
Okay.
And we try to take a new.
Yeah, I just want to merge it, but. Doesn't allow me to type. Interesting.
This is not accept.
So
But they said the same thing.
okay, all right. So basically, okay, doesn't
Maybe you
doesn't
can type
work.
in the FX part. I don't. You can go down a bit.
Oh,
On the left up.
here.
Yeah, you can change
Yay! Very good. Okay, so what we have here is in the left column we have the US patent. So this is from the seller perspective. So his bet now is 5 million, right? 5 million that he could. So every cell is 1 million. His bet now is 5 million and 1 million for the dealer. Okay, that's the BATNA that he has. On top of his BATNA, his reservation price for US is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's the reservation price.
Ah, that's how you read it.
Yes. So
Okay,
that,
6 million?
that's 6 million is the reservation price, and 9 million is the aspiration price. Yeah. If he wants to get the global patent, then the reservation price is 9. So 1, 2, 3 plus 6, 9.
What's that?
Global reservation price.
1, 2, 3 plus 3?
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Ah, all those cells
Yes,
and the global.
that's the reservation price.
Okay.
The reservation price for the seller. Okay,
Okay.
the aspiration is 18, right? That's 1, 2, 3 times 6. 18 million.
How can I see this?
So basically every block is, so we have a BATNA, 5 million, plus 1 million. What's this?
Oh, I see.
Okay.
So you're talking one cell worth 1 million, right?
Yes.
Beginning.
Yes.
Basics.
Yeah.
And then you have the millions on to the top. If you go up,
Yes.
you just add up, right?
You add up.
Like nine cells, that means 9 million. But
Exactly.
if you go towards the right, that means you go global.
You go global.
Right?
So because basically you cannot sell a US patent and a global patent. So the US patent and the global patent is the same. So basically this is 9, the aspiration. And the aspiration for a global patent is 18. 1, 2, 3,
3 by
6. Yeah. So the same is true for the reservation price. 6 for the 9 for the global reservation price, and 6 for the US reservation price. That's what the seller wants as a minimum, as the bottom line. So he wants 6 million for his patent, and for that 6 million he's willing to give up the right to use that patent in the United States. If you can negotiate with the owner, with the buyer in the United States, that instead of using it only in the US, you can get a global patent, for that right, he wants to have 9 million, so 50% more for his patent. But that gives you the right to actually sell globally. Now the question is, of course, as a patent buyer, how much money do you think you can make with that patent in the future overseas? So to put that in perspective, we have the BATNA column here for US. BATNA for US patent is 0 because he doesn't have a BATNA for the US patent. Reservation price will be for the US 4.2. That's 4.8. That is 4.8 and 1.2 is 6. That is the total is 6. 20% goes to the buyer. So it's maybe easier to see the total here. So the reservation is 6. So sorry, this is for the seller, this is for the dealer, and this is total.
That's not the buyer anymore, the total. Okay. It's only for the seller part.
That's for the seller part. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is for the seller part. So we have a BATNA for total dealer plus seller. BATNA is 6 million. If you would sell it to somebody else. Yep. The total for the deal for a US patent would be 6 in the US and 9 for the global deal, and aspiration is actually 9 for a US patent deal and 18 global. That's the aspiration. That's what he wants.
And you just divided 20%.
Yes, 20% goes to the dealer in both cases. So this is what he will end up with. So if it's like if he can reach his aspiration level, he will actually, instead of getting the 18, he will get 40.4 because he will have to give up 20% to the patent dealer. You get it, Emerson? Yeah? Okay. Then the buyer side. So for the buyer side, there is this. We have this. We have two things. We have a estimated revenue, and we have so that's the 50% likelihood. This is what I expect that I will make. The profit that I will make from a patent. So the gross profit that I will make in year 1, year 2, and year 3. Right? But of course, estimated is that is with a certain kind of certainty. So you can say, well, this is what I expect, 50% chance. So this is the biggest likelihood. But you also want to make an estimate. They say, well, like I expect this, but as a minimum, I'm 80% sure to make this. So this is what I expect actually. But this is what I think that is more than likely. So with 80% certainty, I think that I will make these numbers. Right? You better stick to that number. But then the question is, okay, am I going to go for profit share, or am I going to go for a price up front? And who's going to negotiate with this? And who's going to negotiate with that? So basically, you can base yourself on this and say, okay, I want to have a profit share. And in that model, what you will see is then, okay, in year 1, for a US deal, we will have for a US deal, we will have 4, 5, and 7. That's the blue part. That's the profit from with 80% certainty. In the rest of the world, it will be 2, 3, and 3. 2, 3, and 3. So the totals will be 6, 8, and 10. So that's 24, right? 24 total for the US, 16, and the rest is 8. That means that if I would share, if I would negotiate a 50% profit share with the patent holder, then I would actually end up paying $8 million in the case of a US patent, and $12 million in the case of a global patent. Yeah, so that's 80% certainty. But what would happen if actually my expectation would come through? Because I expected actually that it's not, it's going to be more than that. So what we saw here on the left-hand side is these numbers, but what I expect is actually higher than that. So we see here 6, 8, and 10, but the actual expectation for me is not that. It's actually 6 and 8. No, it's 8 and 10. 8 and 10 is what I expect as total. So that means that I actually expect 32 million in profit. But if that happens, then my profit share, my 50% profit share, would actually become more expensive. It will, instead of 12 million, become 16 million. So if I'm going to, as a patent buyer, if I'm going to negotiate a profit share of 50%, then my expectation will be that it's going to cost me 16 million. On the flip side, if everything fails, if I completely fail to bring this product off the ground, then it's going to be less than this. Then there is a possibility that my profit will be less. So then my profit share will be much lower. So there is this estimate that you must make to say, okay, am I going to offer a profit share? So how much risk am I willing to take? Am I going for a profit share, or am I going for a price directly? And where is my break-even point? Where am I going to say, okay, well, in that case, I want a profit share, or in that case, I want to have a fixed price, a lump sum, immediately.
This figure is showing, what is this figure? Year 1, year 2, year 3.
That's the gross profit. Sorry, your keyboard is your trackpad is working the other way around.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gross profit from patent.
So the gross profit 80% sure and the gross profit 50% sure. So that's the profit before you have to pay the patent cost. So the gross profit minus patent cost will be the net profit.
Okay, how come year one is US profit share 4 and 50% sure is year one is 5? What's the difference among two years?
Well, basically, you make the product, you buy the technology, or you get the technology, then you start selling it, right? But it takes time before you have market adaptation, before you can reach a lot of clients. So your expectations is that as your company will using this technology will grow rapidly, but that means that in year one, the estimated profit will be less than in year 2 and in year 3. Right.
How do you calculate this side and that side? This is 8% for sure, this is 50% for sure.
Yes. 50% sure. So this is what my actual expectations. If I wouldn't take any emotions in this, then I would say, okay, I actually expect that this will be my revenue. I expect that my total gross profit for if I would get a global patent would be 32 million. That's what I expect. The global total profit in 3 years' time will be 32 million.
Oh, is it expired in 3 years?
No, basically that's when I wanted to. After that, I'm totally unsure. So basically, my expectation is okay. I want to pay a reasonable price for 3 years ahead. After that, it should be written off. The patent should be written off.
Why I don't understand, because this side is more probability, right side is not less probability, right? But
Yes.
how come buyer willing to pay 32 million rather than 80%
No. This is assuming that he buys the patent, right? So he wants to see what is responsible for him to pay for the patent. Assuming that if he got the patent, then this is his estimate. Like if I would buy this patent, right, I expect that I would be making a gross profit of that patent of 32 million.
Also increase sales amount.
Yes.
But left side, right side discrepancy for the period.
The discrepancy is that this is a 50% chance. This is the average. This is what your expectation.
I understand, but
But if I'm a little bit more conservative, conservative.
No. Year one is 4, and the other side, year one is 5. Why is kind of no relationship among those fields?
This is just an estimate. This is an estimate to say, okay, well, if I'm really optimistic, if my general expectation is that I can make 8 million in year 1.
If going to 80%,
But I'm quite, well, maybe I will not make it, but this is what I expect. But if I want to make an estimate of what I can most likely make, like 80% sure, then I think
okay, no relationship.
no relationship.
Okay.
So basically,
more statistically you recalculated.
no. Basically, it's just an estimate and say, okay, well, this is my expectation. This is my if I'm a little bit conservative, and as a buyer, you want to be a little bit conservative. You want to say, well, okay, I want to be 80% sure. I want to have the numbers that I can attain with 80% certainty. Or if you're very risk averse, you maybe want to even make the numbers closer to 90% or 95% with this patent.
Okay.
So that's the game. So what we have here is a buyer, a seller, and a negotiator. They need to negotiate a deal. And what they need to agree on is the price, the scope, whether it's going to be a American patent or a global patent, and they need to agree on the profit share for a fixed price. So Takahashi-san, Oh wait.
Yeah.
Yep. Do you have a? You can choose your role, either the buyer or the seller.
Oh, we're going to discuss.
Mm.
Mm.
But maybe not understanding well enough to
I'm out.
roll.
Okay. Okay.
To take some roll.
Okay. So why don't
uh,
I ask Yuka which one she wants to take, and she's going to negotiate together with you.
Okay, she's buyer.
Oh,
I will
whichever
sell.
is buyer. Then buyer. Me, buyer.
Yeah, I'm following.
You're the
I'm
buyer.
following
Okay.
the other.
Okay, why don't you explain him again?
There is-
Although he does not understand it.
Okay. So, all right. So maybe actually because
I tell you, this is not easy to understand. Difficult.
I think what this is well as close as I could think of a scenario that would come
I think you're
close
trying to make it realistic, right?
to the
No,
real.
simply,
with-
explain again.
Okay, no, sure. So, but
Which
basically,
part?
it's not easy. But basically, what I would like to put in a stylized form of an actual negotiation. So, what are we going to negotiate? How are we going to negotiate? How does it come close to a real life negotiation? So that's what we see here. So in this case, we know that well, because of the game theory, but we can change it if we want to. The intermediary, the dealer, will work closely with the buyer.
The buyer.
Yeah.
Buyer? Oh, not the seller.
With the buyer, because he will get a percentage from the buyer.
I thought it was from the seller.
From sorry, from the seller. Yeah, you're right. You're right. From the seller. Yeah. So he will work closely with the seller, not from the buyer, with the seller.
So,
Yeah.
so in this slide, in this data, the only thing, or not the only thing you want to say is that depending on the growth or the gross profit that
Yes.
you can estimate,
Mm.
and how much conservative you want to be,
Yes.
and then depending on that, you need to choose if it's for buyers, it's better to go for fixed price
Yes.
or to the profit share, right?
Exactly.
So depending on your confidence level and
Exactly.
how much certain you can make profit in the market.
So if you decide to be the buyer, then you need to decide.
Yeah.
Okay, do I go
How
for
much,
80% certainty? All right. Then if the price that you're negotiating will come close to for a global patent will come close to 12 million, for example, then it becomes worthwhile to actually say, well, I'm going to offer you a profit share instead, or 6 million plus a profit share
By the way,
of
how
25%.
How can I negotiate with buyer or I can seller? Okay, how I negotiate buyer to sell increase price? What's the condition? We will discuss.
Well, basically, as a seller, how to negotiate as a seller? Well, it's very simple. Without this technology, the buyer needs to invest 12 million.
Can you go back to the first?
Yeah.
maybe?
Okay, I tell you why my question tell you. I don't care about how much money they set down seller. 20%, right? I don't care. Because just only 20% of final price.
That's
It's
intermediary.
intermediary.
Yeah.
It's a dealer.
I'm a holder, okay. I want to sell more expensive or higher.
Yes.
But to buyer, how much do you want to buy? And he just willing to hold the holder offer them to 5 million. They said, okay, they said they're asking 80 million. 80 million. The buyer said, okay, no, I don't want to buy this kind of expensive. 8 million though, to buy this patent.
Yes.
And dealer negotiate in the middle, negotiate, okay, but I can't do that. So what is the factor we're going to negotiate each other? not the left side, not issue. What the factor, 80 million versus 8 million. You got it? Buyers, US global, patent 8 million. And holders want to sell 80 million, right?
But 80 million is not a deal because 80
No,
million.
target, I'm to talk target.
Yes.
Target is always different.
Target, reservation price, whatever, okay? But 9 million versus 12 million. This is holder and buyer.
Yes.
But what kind of factors will negotiate with each other?
Well, basically, this is an estimated benefit. That's basically what the patent holder will estimate is how much money can a patent holder, like the buyer of a patent, can make out of this patent. So and then he will look for, okay, so if this side can make, let's say, 100 million from my patent, and the production costs are, let's say, 80 million, then there's a 20 million profit that he can get from my patent. Now, I think that my patent is the reason why he can make this profit. Therefore, I want half. I want to have half of the potential profit for a buyer, and since
talking about 10 million?
Yeah. So based on my technology, I can make an estimate or say, well, if they use this technology and if they use this global patent, they can make an estimated gross profit of about 20 million. The reason why they can make it is that because they buy my patent. So why shouldn't I get a share of that profit? Right? So I take either I will ask for the price 20 million, of 10 million right now, 50%, or I will ask for a profit share that will probably be higher than the 50% because it's more uncertainty.
But it could be lower too. Not always higher.
No, what I would ask for. So, okay, if my, okay, let's make a simple example. Let's say that what the patent holder is thinking here, the buyer is thinking here. Let's put this on the buyer sheet. So actually, no, the seller, sorry. So the seller estimates that the if he sells the, let's say only take the global patent, right?
Yeah.
The global patent. Oh, again we go global patent.
6, 9, 18. 6, 9, 18.
Global patent. So he thinks that basically if the global patent will be given, that will give a total profit. Like there will be 100 million global revenue in sales. That's the potential. The costs will be, let's say, 80 million.
What is that?
Sorry, I don't follow.
So if I'm going to sell this to this company, I have a patent and I'm going to sell it to Philips, who has a worldwide network of retailers. So this product, I think I can sell about 1 million at $100 a piece, right? That's what I think. It's my estimate. So I have this new patented technology that will enable this buyer to sell 1 million, to sell 1 million units.
Why did you start
Okay.
talking about the details? Well, maybe we
The
didn't
question-
talk about
He
profit.
is jumping.
No. So basically, I want to explain. I don't
understand
understand
what you're trying to say, but the profit is simple enough.
Okay, so the costs are.
Simple enough to talk about. If
Why
you
are
talk
talking
about
about
like
cost?
production costs and like
What's
the
the
real
cost?
profit that you're making, it's like very complicated. I think.
Okay, so
Yeah, I think
What's
you're
the
making
cost?
it-
okay, so where does the profit number comes from? So basically, you're going to
that was the
estimate.
question?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
What's the
Okay, no, okay, all right. So basically,
So why don't we talk about profit only?
Consumer
Because
confusing.
we
I
understand
lost.
that the profit is the difference
I know.
between the sales
Okay.
and the cost.
I think
So-
let's forget everything. So
Is that okay?
this profit, yeah, okay, but where does the profit come from? Basically,
Oh, you can simply say, okay, this patent generates 20 million. So
yes, profit.
Yeah.
simple thing, right?
Yeah.
Profit.
Now I understand.
Yeah, okay. So it gives 20 million profit. I think that because this is a because of my patent, this buyer can make 20 million in profit. I think it's fair that of that 20 million profit, because of my patent, I want at least 5 million.
Yeah, reasonable.
Yeah. So reasonable amount. I think that's
reasonable.
that's a reasonable amount. This is what I want.
Buyer.
So then the question is, how am I going to get that 5 million? Am I going to get the 5 million now, or am I going to ask for a profit share? But
This is what I don't understand. What does it mean?
well, if the buyer doesn't have a lot of money, for example, and he has the potential to make 20 million having this patent, he says, well, you know what, I do not have that money right now, but if we do this deal, we both estimate that I will make $20 million, right? Right? So instead of paying you 5 million, I will pay you profit share, 25%. Okay? Then the buyer, the patent holder will say, yeah, 25%. No, I want a minimum of 25%. So instead of giving me a profit share of 25%, you have to give me a profit share of 40%.
That's not what you said.
Yeah.
Before.
40%.
Because it's also
It's uncertain.
risk-taking.
It's a risk.
Yeah.
So it becomes a shared risk. Either I take 5 million now, or I will take an estimated 8 million.
But that's good from the buyer.
From the seller's perspective.
What does it mean?
So that's 40%. So either it's going to be 5 million or 40%.
Let me put it on the right side of 5.
What difference would that make?
Oh, you chose in the row. You say like this is what seller gets, right?
Okay, so yeah.
Oh, it's okay.
Or you can say, well, if I want to have 5, I want to have 2.5, and I want to have a profit share of 20%.
Maybe you can use that.
Yeah.
That column,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So let's say 2.5. 2.5 plus 20%.
What do you mean 2.5?
Or actually, because the risk is then lower, I will take 18%.
In the case of which amount of profit global percent as opposed to 20
So this is what I.
or 20, right? And then what is it 2.5 and 18?
Okay, that's an alternative scenario. But that's okay. This is not fair. Yeah. So what I would say.
Can
Okay.
you put the top value on the global percent? There's no global percent value on top of the 2.5 or 18.
Okay, I'm gonna take this completely out. X. Put this here.
Both are for 20 million.
So this is
Global percent.
20
I want to
million.
know what you mean by like you could just
Still. Okay.
just having 20 on top of 2.5. The same thing, right?
Yeah.
That's what you want to say.
But how does it 29? 2.5 40? That makes sense.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to explain this again. All right. So if the estimated profit of 20 million in the negotiation, right? The estimated profit of the patent, and then I say, I want to have 5 million of that
Settle
20 million, right?
Here, I already understood it. Well, yeah, and
Okay. So either that, or I'm going to accept. This is the only choice between. I'm going to take only profit share. Takai-san, are you following?
Sorry?
Are you following?
No, he lost. I lost him. He lost.
No. Okay, so this is the scenario where we take.
Can I type in something? I think I will borrow your keyboard and I will type in things. So that,
This is very slow somehow.
can I
Okay.
do that?
Mine PC?
You have to type it in.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know. I think this is Safari.
This is fixed price, right?
Yeah, this is profit share.
And this is
Profit share.
and then what do you want to write down?
So basically,
This is also 20, right?
so these are deals that are have the same value to me.
What do you mean by same value?
So this is what I can negotiate. So this has a same value to me. So either I take this deal or this deal or this
Oh,
deal,
you mean
compounded.
what you mean? Going to pay
Ah,
fixed price
So-
or profit share?
that's a different scenario. That's
Yeah,
completely
that's a different.
scenario.
So this is it's either
okay,
5
okay,
million
okay.
now.
Okay.
or-
Let me. Command X. Oh, what's this?
This is Mac.
So slow.
It's very slow.
Like this.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we have three scenarios.
This is what you wanted to
Yeah.
say, right?
Yeah.
Something like
yeah. I don't know why it's so slow. Maybe it's because we are recording.
maybe.
Scenario 1. Okay, maybe we can pull this
Oh.
like this. Yes. Okay. So, okay, we have three scenarios, and all three scenarios give me roughly the same benefit. So we have scenario 1. If the estimated global profit is 20 million, then I think that I should get in my hand as a patent holder. In my hand, I want to have 5 million. I think 25% is fair immediately. No risk. I get the money. We say goodbye, and whatever success or you have or not success you don't have, that's fine. If the patent buyer says, "Well, sorry, I don't have the money. I give you a profit share," then I'm not going to settle. I'm not going to agree to actually a 25% profit share. Instead, I think that's too uncertain for me. I don't get the money in my hand. I don't know what's going to happen in your company. I don't know whether your salespeople will be able to sell this pervasively. And frankly, it's not my influence. So to me, the risk is very high. So instead of the 25%, I demand a 40% profit share. So the estimated revenue is $8 million. But it could, for the same, if my concerns come true, then I could actually end up with very poor sales results, and then I could only end up with 3 million instead of 5 million. So I take more risk, therefore I demand a higher percentage. Another scenario, that's a combined scenario, could be like, okay, you know what? I'm willing to say, well, I'm not going to take the full 5 million because I understand you don't have a lot of money. I'm going to take half of that. That's half of that money. And I want to have, for the rest, I will take a profit share. But since my risk has been reduced because 50% I already have in my hand, then instead of getting the 20%, which is the half of 40%, 20% profit share, I say, okay, but my risk has been reduced, therefore I will agree to an 18% profit share. Yeah?
Okay. Yeah, I'll say that. Okay. I can propose this kind of business to the buyer.
Oh,
Any other issue? I understand this one.
okay. All right. So there is the buyer, there's the seller, and we have this deal. So
Is it the buyer again?
the buyer, yes.
Right.
So we have the buyer, we have the 80% certainty, and we have the 50% certainty. So at 80% certainty, the buyer will get these sales numbers, resulting in a 3-year profit, like a very likely, let's say, like translate this as likely, and of most likely, and this is likely, 50%. This is the most likely, this is the estimated value, and this is with, well, very likely. Okay, I estimate this, but I'm quite confident that we will actually get more than this. So, in this case, we will have, for the global patent, that's here in yellow, the US patent is here in blue. Right?
What does mean 50% share?
50% share is basically, if I would share 50% of my revenue, 50% of my profit with the patent holder, then I would end up paying $12 million in this scenario, right? So if I'm going to
Now we're buying.
yeah, if I'm going to buy this patent, then I'm going to pay. I could either pay this money right now, or I'm going to ask for a profit share. Now, the profit share that I would probably not exceed 50%, because if it's 50%, then I will basically end up paying 12 million, most likely. But if it's according to my expectations, then I actually end up paying more. So if I need to basically say, okay, I'm going to buy this for 12 million, then that means that it would be the same with 80% interval. But if it's actually my expectations come true, then I will actually pay 16 million, right?
It does make sense. You said, this is the gross profit is probability is very less in these cases. We need to earn much more money, right?
Oh, we're being very optimistic.
Yes. No, we are being.
Right?
This is not very optimistic. This is what I guess.
Yes.
What it is.
As opposed to 80%.
80%.
Optimistic part.
Yeah, this is
We expect
basically
more profit.
without any consideration for risk. This is what I expect. That's the right side of the coin.
I don't know. My question is, okay, probability is very low. In this case, we need to sell more. This means, right?
No, basically this is what I expect that I will make. This is
Gross
the
profit, because 50% probability, that's the reason why we need to sell double, right? Compared with the other one.
No. Basically, this is just what we see here. Is we need to read it from top to bottom. So what you see here is here. This is what I expect, that the profit that I will get, that if I buy this patent, right? This is the gross profit. So
No, it doesn't make sense. But 50% sure. Why numbers are increasing?
This is about the
Yeah.
probability. So it's not the lower the percentage,
Yeah.
the bigger the number becomes, because there's a
Okay,
distribution.
50% sure.
number.
Profit
No.
should be low.
No. Actually, it's a little bit different, Usan, because what I want to say here is that I have. This is what I expect. But if I'm more conservative, right? If I'm more conservative, I say, well, I am actually I expect to make $32 million in profit. But if it's not going so well, if I have production problems and maybe Southeast Asian market, I'm not so sure whether we can enter. So I'm gonna expect that I can make 4 million there. But if I'm conservative, I'm actually going to estimate this, put this down for 2 million because I'm not so sure. That's why.
Okay, I'll give you another question. Gross profit from patent, 30% sure. What's wrong?
Sorry, 30% sure.
Yeah.
But then the profit, then the estimated profit is going to be higher.
Higher than 32.
Yeah.
Why is the profit going to be higher?
That's
30%
the question.
sure.
The
So,
percentage of
oh, why is it going to? Why is it?
Uncertainty, right?
So,
Why profit is higher?
so
Lower.
you're going to be more conservative if you want to be more sure, right?
Yeah, profit is conservative.
Yeah. So if you're more conservative,
Yeah, conservative.
conservative means that
Yes,
there's a
absolutely.
higher
Lower.
likelihood of actually reaching that.
No.
So if you're going to run a marathon, right? So if I'm
Okay, just, do you understand?
I
don't
do
understand.
understand, if I'm going to run a marathon, right? Then there is a 80% chance that I will finish that marathon in 6 hours, right? There is a 60% chance that I will finish that marathon in 5 hours. No, sorry. There's
Like this? You have 80%. You have like darts, for example, if you think about darts. There's an only 80% sure area here, which is the one on the left. And then you also have a 50% sure area, which is bigger than this area. That's why the profit is so big, right?
80%. The bigger is 80. Yeah, the bigger is 80.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's an 80% chance that you will.
Okay, so that's why it's bigger.
Yeah.
Oh, right. You're right. Get me
80%?
Yeah.
50%.
Yeah.
True, because
Yeah.
it's harder to
Yes.
hit the center
Exactly.
than the outside.
Yeah.
You're right. So, ここが80%.
So.
So if you like play darts and then 10 darts, for example,
Yeah.
and then 8 times it hits here, and then within these 8 times, 5 times hits here.
Do you understand this one?
So the higher the percentage of sureness,
Yeah.
the smaller the value becomes because you want to be sure
Yeah.
that. Well,
Why
did I say
50% is the amount is more bigger?
So basically,
My simple question. Why 50% sure is sales profit will be bigger?
So-
Bigger than 80%.
Oh, so I thought.
My question is simple.
Yeah.
Why 50% sure is profit is bigger than 80% sure?
why?
Why?
Because basically you want to lower the bar, and so okay, so let's say the marathon again. So what is the chance that I complete a marathon within 6 hours time? It's 80% that I complete it within 6 hours. What is the chance that I finish within 4 hours? That's only 20%. So that means
It doesn't make sense.
so basically what it says here.
Maybe okay. Maybe you won't say.
So basically,
okay, just listen to me. Maybe
it's
you
easier
won't-
to reach this to show.
Maybe you won't say 80% probability. Maybe we can attain to sell 24 million. Okay, but 50% probability we can attain 32 million. Okay, 20% for sure we can sell 100 million.
Yes, exactly. That's what it says here. That's what it says here. Exactly, you're explaining this right now.
It's a bad explanation.
You're explaining
Tell
it.
you.
No, it's not. So this is more difficult than this, right? This is more difficult to attain. So the uncertainty here becomes bigger.
By the way, what does it mean total profit to 24 million and 50% share?
Yeah, okay, Uno-san, let's first agree that we understand
I
this.
understand this one.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Okay,
but
good.
That share only.
Well, it's not so bad. Basically, the more difficult it becomes, the more unlikely it becomes. So this is more difficult than this, right? It's not difficult at all. It's not complicated at all. It makes complete sense. So this.
Yeah, he said he understood. So
Okay, all right.
Let's get over it.
Okay, let's go. Next question.
About 50% share.
Takashi will still not understand.
Takashi-san, I think he understands now.
No. Not easy.
Takashi-san, so do you understand what we're talking about?
Yeah, I understand the marathon.
You understand? Sorry.
I understand the marathon case.
The marathon case. Yeah,
No,
exactly.
No.
Well, sorry that I've chosen such poor examples. The point here is that the more difficult it becomes, the more unlikely is that you will get the result. So the lower you set your bar, the more likely it is that you will pass it.
Mm.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the marathon example. Okay. The 50% share. What's your next question?
The
50%.
next question is, okay, 24 million, okay.
Hmm.
I can sell. Okay, buyer, I can sell. But
Yes.
What is the max price of 12 million?
If I would agree to the max price and the so basically, if I would share profit, right, then the maximum price that I would pay, if I would say 50% share is a maximum, then the maximum price that I would pay is of course not more than sharing profit, right? So the maximum price would be 12.
It could be even lower. We were talking about fixed price, right? Max price. No?
Yeah. So the
You're
fixed price, yeah.
You're comparing the case.
So where do they
or-
where are they equal?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is
Oh,
I made it terribly difficult. Basically, what we are going to look for here is where is the break-even point between sharing the profit and setting a maximum price. So, for example, if we are talking about a price that I need to pay this price, 12 million. If I need to pay this 12 million, and I estimate that, well, it is very likely. Well, this is the case. So this is what I will try to share with my seller, right? With the seller. But this is what I actually expect. And if I'm going to share profit, then actually I estimate that an equal profit share will cost me 16 million.
What is the expected cost? What does it mean?
The expected cost is that if with a profit share will be 16 million if I share for 50%.
What?
Oh my God.
You're going you can only explain about 80%
Okay.
chance, for example.
All right.
You're not clear there yet.
Okay, so let's go here. Let's go here. Let's go
Can
here.
you go back
Let's
to
go
that?
here. Okay.
Yeah, so what is the max price? And if I understood correctly, you have the share profit, share
Yeah.
percentage version, and also fixed price version.
Yes.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. So basically, we are going
Yes.
to we're so
Or no?
Okay. So sorry. No, actually, I was answering my own question. Your question. Sorry. No. Yuka's question.
Well, in the first sheet, we looked at, well, we have two options
Yes.
to pay. Like, one is a fixed price,
Yes.
and the second one is a
Profit
profit
share.
share.
Yes.
And this 50% share means profit share, right? But the
Yeah.
max price, is it for fixed price?
No, the max price is that if
What's the
if the price will go up, negotiated price, if the seller wants 12 million for this.
So that's fixed price, right?
Hmm.
Maximum fixed price.
Yeah.
To pay by
Yeah.
cash right now.
Yes.
But I don't think that's the reality, because the seller said they would ask for 40% profit share as opposed to only 25%
Hmm.
of the fixed price right now. So the max fixed price should be lower than the percentage share, no?
So
Yeah, what's the 50%
No.
share? Is that the one that buyer gets?
he does not think these figures background. And no meaning. 24 to 12? Oh my god.
No, I'm just. My question is about this graph, this table. What this 50% represent? 50% share is just the 50% of the
Of
total
the profit,
right?
yeah.
3 years.
Yeah. So
And then the maximum price, what is it?
the maximum price is actually that's if he asks for a 20
you
million.
can change it.
So if
20%? Huh?
if he asks for
50%.
if he asks for 12 million for the patent, for the global patent, if he would ask for 20 million for the global patent, for 12 million.
My question
Well-
is, you don't need to sit into read down your source. I think you need to change the chart more understandable way. This is not, that makes sense. 24
Okay,
million.
let's if we just completely erase this and just say, okay,
Why don't you make another sheet?
No,
and
no,
then play with it?
okay, just simply my question. How come max price is 12 million?
no,
Max
I'm just
price
saying
for
that.
who? For who?
No, I'm just saying that what I say is that, let's say, what kind of maximum profit share can I give as an alternative to the price for the patent?
You're saying the profit share?
Yeah.
Any profit share?
Okay, so basically, what we have is we have a difference in certain
Okay, I
certain.
tell you, 24 million is, I don't want to, buyer cannot get money for 20.
It will co-
They don't pay anyway, 24 million in total. This is still, profit, so usually business, after business case, maximum payment is not more than 8 million. Okay, total profit is 30% of total profit. Less than 30%. It's too risky. Company pay for
Who?
30% of total,
To
estimated.
whom are you going to pay? From who?
Seller.
Sellers
Hmm.
doesn't pay.
Eight million, something is 8 million.
We'll get
30%.
paid.
Yeah,
Sellers
yeah,
will
yeah,
get
yeah.
paid.
Because, even if, okay, I'm going to get 20 million, 100% for sure, right? 20 million. But you kind of,
Well, but that makes sense, because perfectly makes sense, because seller, together with the dealer, you need to pay 50%, right? So that makes the buyer's profit as 50%
no, basic
share.
figure is
No?
not 24, is not basic.
What?
You share the
Can
seller.
we start from understanding?
Okay, so
No,
can
no.
I just try to explain it? Just because we are
Go ahead.
just no questions. I try
Okay.
to explain what my
Okay,
point
go
is. Basically, what I'm saying here is that we have a estimated revenue, but the estimated revenue for the buyer and the seller is different, right? The buyer will say, well, actually, I estimate that my profit will be 32 million. That's what I estimate, right? And so if I'm going to give a 50% share of my profit, I will end up paying 16 million US dollars for this patent. That's very expensive, right? 16 million for the patent. For the seller, on the other hand, he will estimate that the actual profit will not be 16 million, but the actual profit will only be 12 million, based on 50% profit share. Because he will not say, well, you will not make this money, that's only 50% sure. I'm only prepared to accept an estimate of about 24 million in profit. So I'm going to base my 50% share on 12 million, not on the 16 million that the
It's just so funny. And
So-
are you done with your explanation?
Yeah. So basically that's the difference here. So the difference here is the expectations of profit share will be different between the buyer and the seller. The buyer will say, okay, well, I need to pay, if a profit share is, let's say, 50%. If we would agree to a profit share of 15%, then I would actually most likely end up paying 60 million. That's too expensive for me. So I'd rather pay a lump sum right now.
So
Buyer, on the other hand,
So why are you going to pay all profit to the seller?
no.
No, this actually 24 million. Going to try to share with the seller.
50%.
50%, yeah.
Is the
max-
one that buyer will give away to
50% of share and max price. Pay money and share. Right?
So basically,
No. Are you going to pay for half of money profit to the seller? This is half of total profit, half of money going to give to seller.
no. The question is that if you negotiate a price, to what level would you say, okay, then I'm indifferent between buying this patent right now for this amount of money, or sharing a profit. So where do these two meet?
Oh, my simple question: how much you want to pay money for seller on this?
How much I want to pay to the seller?
Yeah.
So basically, that is not only based on this. So my maximum, what I want to pay to the seller, is 12 million, of course, because otherwise I'm going to make my own patent. I'm going to make my own technology.
Why you set up the 12 million?
Which one?
This
The
one.
green
Yeah,
stuff?
Because that's the maximum price.
Why do you set up the 12 million instead of the 24 million?
That's the maximum price.
The
maxi-
maximum price that the buyer can pay for a seller, right?
Yeah, the maximum price that he wants to pay,
No, this
because
is,
that's his bet now.
But that's why you made a change in the other table on the right.
Oh, so
There's something different.
yeah,
the
so-
maximum price.
So the maximum price, the 12 million, is what he wants to pay.
For global patent.
Yeah.
if so, why you prepare this chart?
Well,
And why I prepared this chart is, okay, I want to see how much am I prepared to pay for the
this deal.
yeah.
So
So
if so, you need
I don't want to give away all my profit.
If so, you need to explain what the gap 24 to 12, 24 and 12 gap. You need to explain.
What do you mean by the gap?
24, just from gross profit.
That's a profit share.
This is just
And
the
you
So
half.
that's the
Yeah.
maximum
Yeah.
that I can share.
Why are you going to settle down partner 12 million?
Because of the other table too,
The other
right?
table.
It's not the only this chart.
Which one?
This
the
one.
first sheet. Because the buyer can do the same thing without buying the patent.
This is Batman.
But why are you prepare this sales chart? What kind of
Simulation, right?
impact
To,
Yep.
negotiation simulation?
Yeah.
What kind of objective of that prepare this chart?
The-
It doesn't make sense.
two points, right?
Okay, you're going to explain that the second reservation amount or target amount we're going to consider for this kind of issue. Maybe makes sense, but what is the objective of this chart? I understand it's just minimum cost issue.
I thought it was to compare if it's better to go
Yeah.
for the fixed price or
Yes.
if it's good for to go for the profit share and then see how much the buyer can earn, right? Over 3 years, depending on the percentage certainty.
I'm lost
Okay,
because
okay.
I'm thinking
Again.
because actually 8 and 12 comes from here, from the reservation
this
price.
This one is 8. This is
It needs to add up. Otherwise, I mean, the 8 and 12 needs to come from somewhere. That's the reservation price.
okay. You need to prepare the chart. Is reservation price, target price. Why are you going to?
That's
set
the
a
maximum price that I want to pay.
Oh, okay. Can you go back to buyer?
Yep.
target? Yeah, this doesn't make sense. This is different. It's different. 24 million.
8 and 12 is the reservation price. That's the maximum price he wants to pay. That's just a given. That's the reservation price that he says. Oh, if it's more than that, and there's no deal.
50% sure. This is just a simulation.
Yeah, so basically, then what the expected costs are. So basically, what the seller will say. Well, your revenue will be if he's going to make an estimate. Yeah. So basically,
Okay.
if he's going to negotiate 50%, then he should not negotiate a profit share because he actually thinks that he will end up paying more.
Buyer though?
The buyer will pay more because his profit is, he thinks that he will then end up paying more than his reservation price. So the profit share that he can agree to is most likely less than what the seller is willing to settle for.
Why did you make another table for 95% sure? Not
In order to not make it even more complicated.
Okay.
So basically, the scenario here is not 95 or 85 or whatever. It's just my expectations as a buyer and the expectations from the seller. The expectations from the buyer and expectations from the seller are different. So the expectations from the seller are lower than the expectations from the buyer. So if you're going to negotiate a profit share, then as a buyer you will have to calculate from your expected values, and the seller will calculate from his expected values. So where can we meet if what is equal? So which price is acceptable? Which risk are you willing to take?
So my point is you have to prepare the chart first, right? This right, you have discrepancy. This amount never talking about the first line. Partner and reservation price and target price. It doesn't relate in any certain.
This is
No, you can show the PD.
yeah.
Nothing talking about 32 million. This is Hanoi. Okay, you just talking about 12 million
Yes.
and 12 million
Yes.
and 6 million.
Yeah.
Okay, what about 32 million?
But we are talking about the patent price, not about my profit.
No, you're talking about patent price divided by 2, okay, 60 million. But 60 million, where from?
16 million?
Yeah.
I thought it just wanted to show that if you're going to make more money than the 80% sure
Yes.
model, then you shouldn't go for the percent share.
Yeah.
Looking at your
Yeah.
usage.
Yeah.
Because it costs more.
But I think where this thing is wrong is that actually, if the buyer had a reservation, so this should be the expectation of the buyer. Otherwise, he would. So actually, this is a wrong case because this should be the expectation. So this should be the expectation of the buyer, and so this should be the 50% sure case, and the 80 and the side from the seller should be less than this. Yeah, not more.
Okay, my question is simple. It's just first right, they're talking about negotiation factors. Okay?
Yes.
You're going to 12 million, 8 million.
Yeah.
The global base. Okay?
Yes.
And so 8 million I want to buy, lowest price.
Yes.
But if you're going to consider for 12 million, 10 million, 8 million, right? So you need to prepare kind of material instead of like this. This is 12 million, just only that's it. But the other one, 60 million, it doesn't make sense. This analysis for buyer's analysis is useless.
Why?
Shows about why they're going to target price. Okay, why seller buyer need to? Okay, I'm buyer.
Of course, it makes sense, Uno-san. This is what he expects in profit. So the price that he's willing to pay for his patent, of course, is related to his expected profit. Why doesn't that make any sense?
No.
We're talking about this.
Target price
The
80 million.
right side, right?
No,
Target price is 80 million. Okay, I'm buyer. Okay, finally negotiate the seller. Okay, I'm going to buy 12 million maximum. But
yes.
Who are you?
it's a buyer.
Okay, thank you.
And 12 million, right? And then reservation price also 12 million.
Reservation price 12 million?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. And also the target price is 8 million or 6 million.
Yeah.
But 6 million is minimum or maximum I pay for seller, 6 million. But seller will going to offer, ask us for more pay more money. But I need to give them, no, this is a gross profit. We can't get so much money. So I don't pay for you this patent. Right? Do you understand what I mean? This is just only private share or max price whatever. But this 12 million is bad one. I don't want to deal with the seller 12 million. But I need
You don't want to pay 12 million. Why?
Yeah,
why?
I want to negotiate with them.
You think it's too much?
6 million. But for 6 million, but I need to estimate gross profit. No, gross
But
profit.
why do you think it's too much? Based on what do you think it's too
Well,
much?
based on
Because
gross-
now we're
okay,
starting
I
to
tell you.
negotiate.
Gross profit is somehow, okay, we need to recalculate gross profit. 24 million, we can pay 12 million a year.
We cannot pay 12 million.
No, this is show that, why not?
Why not?
Why not?
You're going to show the
We're
seller,
quite sure that
you're going to show the this seller. Oh, you can get a lot of this person. Why don't you pay the 12 million? Even the 16 million, you can pay for us. Seller will
Yes.
tell you.
Yes.
But no, this is no. This
But I will not pay 60 million because if I have to pay 60 million, then I'm going to make my own technology. I'm not going to buy it.
no, it doesn't show that. This right side. 60 million.
No, forget about the right side. Let's just that's makes it too complicated.
Even left side. Well, you can pay 12 million. Seller will say.
The seller will say, you can say 12 million. Okay, but then I become, so that is probably somewhere the equilibrium price.
You're
right.
Because
who? Seller?
So the seller will say, you can pay 12 million, right,
The buyer.
to the buyer.
That's settled.
okay, they're going to show the gross profit chart like this. Oh, sorry, I don't get so much profit, so I can't pay for you 12 million. 6 million is nothing. So buyer want to tell to seller. So kind of information I need as a buyer.
So I was not you.
Do you understand what I mean?
No.
If I'm going to show them 24 million in
Yes.
profit next year, or you need to pay the half of those 12 million.
You are?
Yeah, so going back to PD is 6 million. But seller buyer, that I want to only pay the 6 million. I need to give them some proof for negotiation, right? Some proof.
You buyer, right?
I'm going to buyer.
Yeah.
Going to show some statistics to seller. If you're going to show this
Of course you're not going to show this. This is what you as a buyer,
Similar.
this is what you simulate. You say that's why you say my reservation price is 12 million. If it's going to be more than 12 million, then it's going to be more than half of my profit. I don't want to do that.
Okay. If I negotiate with seller, it doesn't mean nothing at all. This chart shows 24 million profit.
Well,
Okay.
I think you need this information in order to negotiate with the seller, because you need to know like what is the maximum you want to pay.
Of course, on
Right.
my other paper, I can sustain the 20 million profit. And then what amount we're going to pay for them at maximum amount for the seller? It's kind of based on the calculation, but not 12 million.
And what is your-
Why not? Why not?
No, I don't want to pay the half of profit. It's too much.
Well, without a deal, I could argue that, and maybe you don't want to go to court. Yes, yes, no, I don't know. But without my technology, you will not make anything. So why would you not share the profit equally with me?
Okay, this is we need to make consider 20% share or max price whatever as management. Okay, this is profit is 24 million. Okay, I'm going to pay for less at the maximum 8 million, for example, management decision. Not 12 million. How are you going to set up half of that?
It's your reservation price. So if it's more than 50% of your
No, not 12. Reservation price is okay, 12 million. But how are you going to set up 12 million? This is too risky. It's going to the 80% share and drop 24 million. And I'm going to pay 12 million. Too risky.
well, because you can end up, but actually, that's why maybe we should forget about this side, because actually, it should be less than this based on my negotiation document.
Okay, just no, I understand this. This chart means that it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
Because you think, okay, but then you can say, okay, well, I think it's only fair to share 40% of is my reservation price.
This is actually future estimate, right?
Yes.
Very risky.
But without it, how can you sell and buy potential?
Oh, this one is
Because it's
just
easier,
management decision. I told him, okay, at least less than 30% for next year. Okay.
But how can that be your reservation price? Because that would be throwing away your baby with the bathwater, right? Because if I would have the potential to make 24 million, either do that or I have nothing. So I have the potential to get 24 million. Then if I would say, well, of course I need to make an effort, I need to invest my time, and I run a certain risk if I do that. But still, without the patent, I don't have that potential. So why wouldn't I say that? Why would I then claim that? Well, actually, basically, I would be able to. I would be maybe in 3 years' time, if I want to make $1 million every year, compared to not making anything now, I would theoretically actually be willing to pay 21 million for it.
Okay, the other way around. If you're going to consider internal document for this material, you need to consider for year 1, year 2, year 3.
Yes.
Just devalue the amount. Second year, third year is interest rate 20%. So just calculate it on next 3 years, maybe 19 million. Are you going to pay more than 50% profit for the max price or for the top price? Seller? No, too much. But okay, I understand your objective, your purpose. But usually, we need to prepare to explain 24 to 12 the reason why you don't take half of the seller reservation price.
Oh.
If reservation price is going to up 12 million.
But the reason why is simple, because actually that's because the BATNA is 12.
Yeah, but is 12, this is cost, right?
Yeah.
Not the gross profit.
No. So basically, why would I pay more than 50% because basically my BATNA is 12. So I can go I'm willing to buy as far as my BATNA. If I'm not going to pay more than my BATNA, so that's very easy. The answer to that question is that the BATNA is 12. Therefore, I'm not willing to share more than 50% of my profit.
Okay, so the other question is BATNA is based upon cost.
Yes.
Copies, the patent, or so on and so.
Yes.
But actually, not only the cost, but also we need to consider the sales capability. And based upon sales capability, it doesn't make sense for a million to pay.
Why not?
Why not? This is considered for the total profit. Just only 24 million. Okay, you are willingly very gentle, okay?
But this is not
more than half of profit going to pay for seller next year.
So this is gross profit. And this doesn't have to do anything to do with the sales effort or whatever. This is already deducted. It's gross profit.
No, I'm talking about that.
This is not revenue number. This is gross profit.
Gross profit, and also you need to consider all the reducing cost, and also you need to consider.
The cost is already deducted from there because it's profit number. It's not a revenue number. So the only thing, we need to make this net, and that to make it from gross to net is to deduct the patent cost. Right? So the patent cost or your patent cost.
Okay, even if this is gross net profit or gross profit, but the concept of net profit is more reduced this amount.
Yes.
But also the value next year's amount, this might be you need to want to pay 12 million. It's more than 60% profit. Net profit is going to the seller.
No, actually, that means that you will have to give a higher share if what you're saying is true.
Yeah, okay, this is my aspect. It doesn't make sure the money to pay half of gross profit.
Why not? Because actually, the only alternative I have to make this profit is to do my bet to take my bet now.
Right?
Yeah.
Net profit is more smaller amount, right?
Yes.
But also you need to have interest rate, right?
Yeah. So then basically, what I would, if I would add that, it would make things more complicated. That's why I didn't add it.
No. Just roughly calculating, it's less than 20 million. I'll tell you. Okay. So less than 20 million.
So that means
you decide you're going to pay 12 million for the software seller. This doesn't make sense. Okay, this is my just my glance, my thought. Okay, but this is okay. We decide more generosity. Okay, we're going to pay 12 million. It's up to you. It doesn't matter. But it doesn't make sense for doing business. This is negotiation. Now it's debate, right? That I just criticized this. You could prepare the chart. Oh my goodness, you have 12 million. I'm seller, okay? I'm seller.
Okay. Oh, okay.
I'm seller. So you're buying. So
I'm not going to show this to you.
You should pay 12 million.
This is my own scenario.
You are very much generosity ready. Are you going to pay for me 12 million? I always accept you. 12 million is good figure, you know. This is the capability in percent.
so if you.
Sure. Right?
So, but actually, then Yuka would say, no, it's not. It's not 12 million.
I tell you, her card in her hand, only this figure as buyer. I'm talking about, okay? I'm talking about. Oh, she's a reservation for 12 million, and also target. I just forget.
But she will not tell you her reservation price. She will not.
No. She just only have this
I'm
figure.
not going to show you.
Of course not.
No.
Of course not.
No, she doesn't have any other information.
I mean, Uno-san, what she may reveal to you is that, you know what, your technology, I can make it for 6 million.
Okay, this is based on my own policy. You need to pay 16 million, but finally you're in your head, okay? I can pay for me 12 million in your head. Never thinking about 8 million. Never thinking about 6 million. Okay? Nothing in your head. Okay. Target 6 million, this is totally lie. Actually, okay, I will pay 12 million because of this estimate for gross profit calculation. Oh my goodness, I got profit.
Uno-san.
So you could go to pay for me 12 million.
So that's a better negotiation way for me to
Yeah.
I'm going to show this.
Easy, ready.
Uno-san, now it's your turn.
What? Are we
To
negotiating now?
Yeah, you're negotiating.
Already done. I just read
As a buyer.
What did you say? You said
buyer.
you wanted to pay what?
12 million, he says.
I'm seller.
So he's the seller. So he says, you're going to pay me 12 million. What are you going to say?
No, I'm going to
That's
ask for
expensive.
16 million.
That's too expensive?
She going to tell me 12 million. Okay, I will tell you.
12 million? So what are you going to say?
Whoa.
It's pleasure. Bro. It's my great pleasure. I'm very happy
12
to say.
million?
Hmm.
What am I going to say?
Yeah,
Under
what,
this situation?
yeah, what you going to say?
Hmm. Can you? Oh no, I'm the buyer, right? I'm
Yes.
gonna pay too.
Yeah.
I want to do profit share.
Of course, no problem, bro. Share 50% share. You can pay 10 million. It's okay, no problem. It's not
But
really.
that was not a right answer, right?
Yoku.
Because I'm not gonna
So,
say it. Because it's not a
I
good
tell you,
situation
I
if
tell
I
you.
say
That chart
profit
is
share.
that reason that chart is wrong. Cannot you?
So
There is
I
a hint in
remember
here.
this. I
There is a
remember
hint in
that.
here.
You cannot negotiate.
Oh,
Reservation price is 12 million, right? Target price is 6 million, but no
so
No
I
basis.
can only pay you 6 million.
no basis. You know,
Because we're not
no
6
basis.
million. What are you talking about?
What the hell are you talking about? No
I can
basis.
make this whole technology for 6 million.
No basis. What kind of basis do you have? Okay.
What is business? No technology.
So Uno-san, the buyer can make this technology herself for 6 million.
What basis are you talking about 6 million?
That's
Explain.
that's what it costs. If I would set up a laboratory, it would cost me 6 million to make this technology. So I'm not going to pay you 12 million.
No, she doesn't have material. 6
We
million.
do. That's
No, you
our
don't have
backup.
it. You don't have it. You are just only 12 million is negotiation to do.
No,
You don't have it. Right?
now he runs away.
So, that's
So Uno-san, what is your response to that?
Yeah.
12 million. That's it. Her employee is prepared 12 million. Your employee is prepared 12 million.
I don't think I would buy your pretend that 12 million is too expensive. It would be like parallel forever.
So, as the coach, she told that she prepared.
Uno-san, you're not going to sell that for 12 million. There's no chance in hell
Yeah.
she's going to accept that.
No, the only way she has only the paper, just 12 million she tried to sell. No, actually,
Show that to
document.
you.
Oh,
You didn't know. You don't know about
She
it.
can say anything at all about less than 12 million. Oh, this one is
Look at what
material. Some document.
the key is that he doesn't have budget to sue you. So you need to get an agreement somewhere in the middle.
I submit my book to the company, but Amazon
So we have, like, a
prohibit
break?
for the submit book to the other company. I read through the contract, but I didn't know.
Oh,
But only,
and what's this?
yeah, only I did. But
You did what?
You're being sued?
no, not yet. Maybe they're going to sue me.
Who?
But I will tell you.
Accenture? Really?
Exclusive contract. Amazon just contract is. I read yesterday detail and my book is 75% profit and sales price.
Mm.
Okay. And this case you are exclusive. If you don't exclusive, but you need to make 35% of book price. And this case is my case is exclusive contract. I made 6 months. So if they're going to find that.
You conveniently forgot about that.
Yeah. But what I did, I submit to the other contract. By the way, I published a book today, yesterday.
So, do you already know how many copies you sold
How many what?
on Amazon?
Yeah, three, only four. Four books. And the fourth one, yesterday I submitted, is I don't agree with the exclusive contract. So I just submit for 35% get money from sales book. Not, I'm mistaken. I didn't read it, but this is a 75%. If you want to get, you can get. This is the digital contract. You say, if you want to make 75% of good price, this is exclusive.
That's a good negotiation case.
Yeah, but you know, this is.
Just like this one, Uno-san. This is almost the same case. Almost the same case.
Oh my God.
I think as a buyer, like you said, I need to create another table, another chart with a smaller, like more certainty, like smaller profit case. Then I can show it to him, and then I'm like, oh, well, you can only make 6 million at the most. So can you
This is
pay me?
ridiculous. I need to say and,
No, actually, you need to give your estimated sales and say, as a buyer, and say, well, so this is the sales. If we do a profit share, if I give you 40%, you will already get 40% of.
No, I'm not going for profit share now. I'm not. We were discussing about.
That's the fixed, just the price immediately.
So then you can just create another one, so smaller.
So your expected sales figures you want to inflate, so that if you're going to talk about the profit share, not make smaller.
Of course not.
Could he follow up? You need to explain him.
Takai-san,
I understand.
it must be very complicated to follow this from Vietnam. Okay.
Do you hear what we're talking?
Yeah, this material is very powerful explanation. I think you need to give him more clear explanation. Otherwise, spending time for him is useless. He still don't understand. I understand, okay? I understand, but you need to ask question for him.
Okay, so basically, Takahashi-san, what we have been discussing here is that the idea here is that as a buyer, you need to make an estimate of your profit, right? And that your total estimated profit should be the basis of the amount that you want to share. So you want to say, well, okay. And there's also that's one thing, and then another thing is that also you need to look at your BATNA. So in this case, as a buyer, you have the option to create your own technology. Your estimated costs here are $12 million, 6 million to make the technology, and 6 million that you may have to incur in legal costs. So that's as a buyer, that is what you have in your hand, so you can do that. So you will never agree to something more than 12 million. Now, looking at that, that means that okay, the price that I can accept for a global patent is maximum 12 million. Otherwise, I will do it myself, right? And what does that mean in terms of profit share? That's the second question. So what if we are going to talk about profit share? What would that mean in terms of my expected revenues? My expected revenues are actually here. So 12 million. So basically, what I would do here is I would say my expected revenues are 32 million. Then my BATNA is 12. So that means it doesn't.
It's all 20, right?
Yeah, sorry. Is my what I want as a what I can accept as a profit share is 37.5%, right? So I'm indifferent between paying about, I would probably do a profit share because I don't have to pay money up front and things like that. That's other benefits. But my total cost, my expected costs of either paying 12 million or giving a profit share would be indifferent around 37%. Plus a markup for my uncertainty and my liquidity risk. So in that case, maybe I would say, okay, I'm indifferent between 12 million right now or 40% profit share. But it's very likely that the buyer, the seller will say, well, I think your estimates are very positive. If I want to get a 12 million in revenue, then I am indifferent with a profit share of about 50%. So basically we have a difference between the buyer and the seller based on their expected profits from the patent. But what is the bottom line here is that the buyer will never pay more than his BATNA. Uno-san has just switched on the telex.
Okay.
So do you understand the negotiation?
This moment.
Yeah. Uno-san is running his printer. It's a very noiseless device.
So did they understand?
How many pages, Uno-san?
No, 5.
Oh.
Couple
It's
minutes. So,
double-sided, so that's why.
couple minutes. That's more. I try to give you the half. This
That's
I
okay.
published yesterday.
Sorry.
Did Takasa?
So Takai-san, sorry. I hope the printer is not as noisy and at your side as it is here.
Yeah, I think I can understand this moment.
Okay, so basically we have an estimated revenue which will be different from the buyer and from the seller, right? We have a BATNA, and we have a BATNA for the seller that's only 5 million. So he will have a big interest in actually selling the patent.
Okay.
Yep, selling the patent, but the buyer will not be prepared to buy it for a lot. And there is actually another element in this negotiation, and that's this. What you see over here. Basically, the BATNA is 12 million in total, but the cost to make the technology is only 6 million. So as a buyer, I would ignore mentioning about the legal cost and just say, you know what, I can make this myself for 6 million. So that my costs are higher than your costs. So why don't I buy this from you for 6 million? That's my BATNA, not the 12 million. The 12 million will only go into effect once you actually go to court. So basically, the seller would then, what the seller will need to do is that he will need to threaten you and say, well, I have enough money to sue you. And then the buyer needs to reconsider his position.
Okay.
Right? So what Uno-san was asking for 12 million is probably not going to be accepted by the buyer. The buyer is going to say, you know what? I can make your technology myself for 6 million.
Similar technology. Then you don't even have to consider about the whole.
But the patent, yeah. Yeah, but the seller then will say, I will sue your ass.
It's just similar.
Well, well, we will decide that in court, whether it's similar or the same.
Okay.
Okay. But at that case, if you do that, then you run the risk of paying 12 million. So then the risk is up to you to decide, okay, am I going to hedge my risk? Because then I might end up paying 12 million.
But is that the technology really required one, or maybe we can go for something else? Why do we have to stick to the
Well, okay, so
this
if
patent?
because well, okay, sure, then we broaden the rules of the game and we go outside of it. That's possible. It's possible, and but um, of course, if that has a value of 6 million,
So I think it's better to set the situation in which the buyer cannot lose this negotiation, or like I have to buy this because of the situation or something.
mm.
So then I have to make it happen, right?
so basically.
Otherwise, I'll be like, oh, it's okay, bye bye, and then that's the end of the negotiation. It's not the it's not
No,
the
no,
point,
no.
right?
Basically, what will happen? So the question is okay. If and I think this is very realistic.
Both sides.
Yeah, so-
patent holder and
So
buyer.
both sides
let's
have an
make it happen or something.
so both
The
sides
video-
have an interest not to lose money in court, right? So it's a risk for both of them, right? So
But I
basically,
don't even know if I want to buy it.
yeah, no, you do because you want to make that profit, right? So you need that technology for profit. So either you buy it or you make it. There's not nothing else. There's not. No, there are not.
That's
third
important
options.
to
Yeah,
say
yeah.
because I'll be like, oh.
Okay. No. There are no other options. So you either buy that technology, you make it, or you don't make any profit at all.
Oh, that's hard.
So that's the. Of course, it's stylized, but this is your bet now. Otherwise, it would be your bet now would be buy it somewhere else. Do you get it, Takahashi-san? So the point here is that for the buyer there are only two options. You buy the technology at a given price. The price will certainly not exceed 12 million because that is the total cost of your BATNA. That will be if you have to go to court, or you make it you make it for 6 million and you incur whatever legal cost you will get. So basically, what the basis of this negotiation would be is that the bottom price here is 6 million. 6 million is more than the BATNA of the patent holder, so he will get more than his global patent that he will get in his BATNA. So that is a benefit, and there is a room for negotiation somewhere between 6 and 12 million, which are the legal costs. So a logical outcome would be somewhere between, I would say, 8 and 12 million. Sorry, not 8 and 12. Yeah, 8 and 10 million. Yeah.
So the objective of today is by knowing all the situations, all the conditions, either holder, sponsor.
So the objective of today is to actually test which elements should be part of the negotiation, whether we need to discount this for the future, whether a three-way negotiation is actually doable.
But based on this information, buyer is the one who needs to be flexible, right? No? Because the seller has the partner, and then the buyer wants to get the patent, no matter what, between 6 and 12.
So, well, actually,
because there's no other options for the buyer, because like other. Well, you can create the technology, but with the cost of 12 million.
6 million. Well, 6
Well,
million,
yeah,
and
but
then
legal
if he goes to court, right?
Yeah.
So then the question is, can you avoid the legal costs? So basically, what you would say as a buyer in this case is you would say to the seller, I'm prepared. I can make this technology. This technology I can make for 6 million. I will make something similar, right? And then how similar it is, that's up
So
for
we need
discussion.
to figure out, the buyer needs to figure out if the holder has a legal power or the money to go.
Exactly, because if he will get what is the bet now of the buyer? How much?
5 million?
So that's the value that he will be prepared maybe to invest. Yeah. How much profit will he make? So it will be in the best interest of the patent holder, because legal cost is something that is irrecoverable, right? It's not going to go anywhere. It's not a benefit. So the legal cost is not what that doesn't go to the buyer.
No, or not.
Oh, sorry, the patent holder. So the legal costs to the buyer do not go to the patent holder. So basically, it will be both sides will lose money if you go to court, right? So what you want to do is you want to avoid that, and want to say, okay, if you copy the technology, basically you reduce the whole benefit of the patent holder to zero. So the patent holder will have a strong inclination to go to court. So the patent holder also needs to be creative in order to meet somewhere in between the cost of technology and the expected cost that he will have to go to court.
So the holder will imply or show that they are ready to go to court.
Yes.
They are going to
Absolutely.
copy the technology, right?
Yes.
And in that way, the holder can raise the price up to at least closer to 12. Well, at least 6.
At least 6.
So it can not be between 5 and 12. 6 to 12.
Yes, 6 to 12. Exactly. So 6 at least, and the holder will also have to make sure that he makes clear to the other side that he will go to court if they will try to do that. So the additional costs, it's not only the cost of technology, but also the cost that he will go to court, because he will sue them. Because if he doesn't sue them, if he just let them do it, then basically he doesn't exercise his patent, and his patent will be reduced to zero. Right? Because he will not be able to sell his exclusive patent if the buyer is going to copy that technology, because that basically makes the value of that patent zero. So he will lose 5 million.
So, does he understand? Does he understand well?
Takai-san,
Yeah.
do you have questions?
Okay.
A lot.
No, I don't know if I can, if I have understood.
Okay.
Yeah, the only going through the process.
So the way that this exercise was intended is to show to both sides and discuss the elements of a negotiation. So we play it open once, right? Just like if you're learning a card game, first you play your cards open and you're going to explain to each other, okay, so this is what we should negotiate. This is what we should look at. This is what we should do in order to hold a negotiation and to come somewhere. So, and what is the most likely outcome? The next step is negotiation with closed cards. That means that you will not see the planning document from the other side. You will not see the numbers from the other side. And you will have to engage in a negotiation and get an outcome by asking questions, by filling out your negotiation planning document, and by coming up with numbers that are good for the two of you. So what would be good for the two of you would be an outcome somewhere between 6 and 12 million. And that is good because there is enough profit to be made by the buyer still to be profitable, and there is more profit to be made from the, by the patent holder than his BETNA. So that there is a possible outcome somewhere between 6 and 12 million that is good for both sides. But how are you going to negotiate that? Like what the example that Uno-san gave was, okay, yeah, well, you're just going to pay me 12 million. That's very clear because you're going to make that kind of money. Well, in that case, if that is your negotiation strategy, the buyer will probably say, well, no, I'm going to copy your technology and I'm going to invest 6 million. Right?
Yeah. And Edo-san, how well?
Sorry?
Okay. Anyway, if we're going to go into this to play out this role playing.
Yes.
But I think it's likely the discussion is likely go much beyond the condition set here.
Oh, the reality.
Yeah, and also this game, role-playing game, is also going to be the beyond. The math discussion have to be included, and most likely the discussion and negotiation here and decision is also likely to go beyond the condition. Maybe.
Oh, okay. So.
Then just so is this workshop is aim at thinking of what kind of the negotiation factor
Yes.
could be involved. Then what we are doing is we set some condition beforehand.
Yes.
Based on that fixed condition, we will play out some positions.
That's the idea.
Yeah, to demonstrate estimated expected negotiation. But yeah, instead, then what the possible way to proceed this negotiation training is that for some factors which might be put from our side or put from the other side. So even we should guess the condition of the negotiation factor itself.
The reason
we're going to build out some scenarios in the discussion. They put in some factors and put in some guessing, some actual situation.
So basically, that's exactly what you are describing here is exactly how I try to design it. So basically, what we are going the scenario here would be like, for example, okay. So we're going to add the fact. So first of all, you're going to negotiate the price, right? Then after that, the scenario would be like, okay, yes, but the buyer doesn't have the money to pay to pay like $8 million up front, because basically he will need to have the patent, make the money before he's capable of actually paying out the benefits of the patent. So that's why it's actually that's an example of a scenario. Do you agree, or did you have another scenario in mind?
I don't know, but the Uno-san is going to say much more than the
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Like basically the way that this is set up, like okay, we have a okay, we are going to negotiate and see, okay, what are we willing to pay for the price? What is the outcome? Is a U.S. patent, also based on the revenues of the buyer, right? So if you see in this case, like the benefits, the profit share of a U.S. patent is actually, relatively speaking, much higher than that of the rest of the world. What does that mean actually for the price? Do I, as a buyer, really want to buy a global patent, or does it make more sense for me? Do I have a higher return on investment if I actually going to buy a U.S. patent? If I look pure as a return on investment, then I probably am better off buying a U.S. patent only, not a global patent. Right, so that's one consideration. That's one scenario. So, am I going for ROI, or am I going to maximize total profit? What is an acceptable risk that I'm willing to take, and what is not acceptable anymore? Is 80% a fair assessment, or is 90% a fair assessment? So that is one scenario that you can consider. Then the next scenario is, okay, if risk is going to be a factor, what can I do in order to, instead of paying directly and getting a lump sum right now, by actually taking a profit share? And what does that mean actually for the buyer and for the seller? Because the profit share for the buyer, the assessment, the value of the profit share for the buyer will most likely be different than that from the seller. The buyer will think that, oh, it's going to be very expensive for me because I'm going to make a lot of profit, right? Optimistically speaking, because basically he is risk averse, so he will probably overestimate his profit. Because if the higher the profit, the more money he needs to pay. On the other hand, the buyer, the seller is also risk averse, so he will probably underestimate the profit and say, well, actually, if I get a percentage of the profit, then I will get very little money. So what we will see as a scenario here, this profit share is very difficult, because there is a different assessment of risk, and which will give a different assessment of the profit, which will give a different assessment of the price that eventually will be paid for that patent.
Okay. What I try to mean is, scenario building. What you're doing for scenario building is the possible, because it is you. What I'm thinking is, this system is the self-implementing to come to outside.
Sorry, Takahashi-san, I cannot really follow you. I think Uno-san, if you keep talking, I cannot hear Takahashi-san. It's coming back through his microphone. So please, if you're going to talk, please talk softly, because I cannot hear Takahashi-san. Takahashi-san, もう一度 please.
Okay. If I would think myself and my colleague and some private company as the student of this session, then what I think is a problem for the current Japanese company in doing actual business, and especially overseas, is that they don't think. They don't do this kind of the scenario building. Even if they are engaged, they have to be engaged in the negotiation. Then, for example, this company is engineering company who is supposed to have some patent. Then they're going to visit some potential partner in China or some overseas. Then they also have some patent. Then they might be able to get some agreement to exchange or to transfer the technology from the one side to the other side. But the most of all Japanese in the Japanese company do not think the negotiation or meeting in this kind of the negotiation way. So in other hand, the once Japanese is given this kind of condition is the Japanese is good at following the condition or thinking logically. So once the condition is given, it might be easier for Japanese to get some reasonable result, only based on the fixed condition, given condition. So, so this is the scenario you can build.
Yes.
But so again, the current problem for Japanese is they cannot guess, they cannot
find this.
Is build up their scenario and try to put the scenario in the actual negotiation, then see how the counter side will react. Then we will think again how to react again. Then it's going to be negotiation.
Okay. So what you're saying? Can I let's say if you are the seller, you have difficulty as a seller, as a Japanese seller, to kind of estimate this estimated revenue on the buyer side. Is that what you're saying? Or as a seller, you have difficulty in creating this kind of scenario regarding your own revenue, your own scenarios, for example, your aspiration price and your reservation price and your BATNA. Where exactly do you see that difficulty?
The difficulty for Japanese is this kind of the scenario itself. That this scenario is prepared by Ed-san. Then you expect some student, the audience, to follow this scenario to find out some negotiation result.
So basically, what I try to do is create a certain number of rules and like limitations within which you can negotiate.
Yeah, then that's it might be easier for Japanese to follow, to find out some expected solution based on the given condition. But the problem is Japanese is not able to set some factors in the negotiation and some scenarios in actual negotiation by themselves. So, I mean, they could handle this workshop if you kindly prepare some factors and expected situation. But in the actual negotiation, when it's going to be actual negotiation, they cannot
apply it.
They cannot do.
Okay. So basically what you're saying is that actually the curriculum is not exactly suitable for the students that we are trying to reach.
So it may be better to let the students think even the let them do the conditioning. Let us do the conditioning. What kind of the negotiation factor could be the consider in our side and the other side, and what kind of scenario is possible. So then they might not be able to. I think they couldn't say anything at all, almost anything at all. Then the your side, the teacher will assist the Japanese company or Japanese student to give them in giving them some instruction or say that why don't you think this kind of the possible factors in the negotiation.
I see. So basically, actually, I should prepare less information and let people figure out more for themselves. So actually, maybe just prepare a newspaper article or something like that, and let them do their own desk research and try to build a negotiation case for themselves.
Yeah. For example, then how Japanese is currently doing this kind of negotiation is that they just say our proposal is to fix 1 million without any additional condition.
I see.
And if it's not acceptable, we cannot make it.
So it's a take it or leave it deal. Like, okay, this is it, and you either take it or leave it, and no room for negotiation.
No.
I see. Okay,
yeah, as you mentioned, the my way or the highway.
Yeah, exactly.
They're losing some opportunity, but they are not feeling they're losing. The fault is from always they're thinking that the fault is from the other side. We're just doing right.
Okay. So what do you think about that? Do you agree to the suggestion made by Takahashi that we should yes, less of a scenario, but more into a practical case where we instead of putting these kinds of calculations on paper, base our whole negotiation on basically maybe a newspaper article. For example, you are to represent the government in a case against a factory that's been polluting the area or something like that. Basically, what Takahashi is saying is that maybe once we have these kinds of criteria in the negotiation, Japanese are quite capable of finding a good solution. But the difficulty for most of the people in Japan is actually to create these kinds of scenarios, to actually come up with creative solutions and to put yourself in shoes the other side of finding the best solutions. So the design of these cases is actually what we should be focusing on instead of working with the design and come up with the best solution within the design.
Okay. So those scenarios that they created is something that we need to create.
Yes, that's where we learn the most. So basically, the challenge would be a better case, a better opportunity for learning would be to actually go one step back, not create this negotiation planning document, but work from an article, and then let people read the article and then make a negotiation planning document and scenarios for how to resolve the issues by themselves.
So we're going to put some article
Yes.
for discussion, negotiation case study.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And also we could guide some steps for the student side. For example, saying let them think the factly about as Edison wrote in the chat, what kind of factors is more should be more prioritized for us, and the guessing the position the other side. Then based on the priority on our side, then the student could think in the next step about some possible negotiation factors. Then doing the first step, the second step, and we could think of the possible scenario, the getting the counterpart together as a negotiation.
Well, I see one big advantage, because I actually noticed that today we spend most of the time discussing like these kinds of charts, and that's not something that we actually learn anything from. That's basically based on my assumptions, and because I set these reservation price for the buyer. Therefore, it trying to make a point, and in that scenario, that's something that is actually not something that we learn anything from. That's just part of the game. So you either accept that or you don't. But it's nothing to learn from that. So maybe it's better and I actually agree with you a lot, to work from a simpler case and then try to, based on that case, maybe a famous case, not so much negotiated regarding the numbers, but coming up with some kind of an agreement that is acceptable to both sides might be might be even much more useful than spending too much time in getting to learn whatever I designed.
By the way, if you're talking about article, most easiest way you try to find out some university case study, like title negotiation skill, something like that. Pick it up and just discuss that. Another way, more easiest way. We can pay $5 or something. We can get many tokens and already prepared case study. And all the case study, but the conclusion is different because of what we discussed.
Yeah.
This is a more easiest way. Instead of you prepare some time consuming, but also today's discussion is some discrepancy, something like that, right? It's kind of university or graduate material is very good. 5 pages, 6 pages, so we just pick it up.
The case study.
You know how to get it, right?
I probably need the help of Google.
Or you can get free, but also if you get in Cook, University Cook, you need to pay $5 or $10.
Cook?
What the name of that?
Zero.
COC or something. Yeah, I just remember. And the periodical edition, the materials. But actually, I don't have it.
Yeah, also for Unison's case, maybe he doesn't need to create those documents, he just gives it that.
Yeah.
That's his style.
Yeah.
Maybe I would like to create those tables, but it depends
It depends on
the
it.
person.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a very convenient.
Well, I do believe that I already downloaded a number of cases from Harvard University, but maybe they are a little bit too complicated to get started with.
That's complicated.
Harvard
No,
University.
no, you try to speak easy.
In the air.
Don't complicate it.
Yeah, actually, they're giving me some image to have this session in my company.
I here have the program of negotiation at the Harvard Law School. And the case here is the Canada-China Panda acquisition negotiation.
Oh, no, interesting.
No. I think they go too big.
Well, it's actually pretty good.
Really?
Yeah, it's very good. I will. The one problem is that
No.
it's 30 pages, 50 pages.
No, you can explain it later.
Okay,
50 pages.
50 pages.
No, we need to summarize. You need to find nothing.
Oh, here we have a border dispute.
Can you summarize it?
Well, let me see. Oil pricing.
Ah, no problem.
Harvard Business Review. 15 pages.
Getting better. Number 5. 4 marks interest, 3 to 5.
Oil pricing is to achieve multiple round business dilemma pricing game. Okay. Okay. Well, actually, I found a lot. This is Harvard. I will try to see if I can find a different source because maybe this is a little bit too difficult to play.
Yeah.
But I think the suggestion is very good. Did you already, by any chance, look into this yourself? Because you say your company is considering to actually have this negotiation training.
No,
Okay.
so that's why, yeah, that's why I'm expecting the session to be held in the company.
Okay. All right.
So actually, in the entire the Topon phone, the Topon group is now required to find and to have the big picture for to adapt the changing situation in our business sector, and especially my business division is strongly pushed by the top management to generate the strategy as the overseas business. So now what we are told by the top management and is that you are doing one by one without it doesn't seem the project is followed by some big picture. And yeah, actually we don't have the clear image to be headed for some change in business situation.
Okay. So, but does that go as to what you're going to negotiate or how you're going to negotiate? What is the strategic plan here? Is it the things that you're going to acquire, the objectives that you have as Topan overseas, or is it a corporate-wide strategy or a division-wide strategy as to how you're going to negotiate deals overseas?
Actually, we don't have a strategic plan.
Okay.
And someone is checking some the possible the possibly related to our business. For example, the IT solution from China and the government project in the Southeast Asia, such as Vietnam and Indonesia. But this kind of the discussion to find out the direction in next 5 years and 10 years has not been seen anywhere.
Okay. Okay. So what you're looking for as a company is basically a more or less standardized approach as to how you're going to operate overseas. What is important, what your business case needs to look like. Is that what you're saying, or?
Yeah, and coming through that, the basic discussion to find out our basic direction for such a plan. Then we are supposed to see some the candidate of the idea of what kind of the company in which country that could be our potential partner or potential customer. Then okay, this is what we have to do by ourselves, but this is not be done yet.
Okay.
So having some specific companies as our target to have some alliance, then we should come up with some proposal and we should have some estimate the expected negotiation with some possible scenarios.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So basically, this is what every company have to do to make a plan, the business plan, the strategic direction.
Okay. That's a very I think probably a 2-3 steps further back than we are at the moment. Okay, but that also fits into a larger picture as what we have been doing here before this negotiation series, looking at markets and economy and politics and how everything works together, right?
Right.
Okay. All right. I don't know how far back we should go. I think basically an approach based on a case in a role play is as far as we can, also to keep it like controllable and something that is manageable within a 3-4 hour session. But to go a few steps back and to less focus on numbers and more on how to construct a negotiation, how to construct a negotiation document, and what kind of strategies, what you can do in order to create net value. It's probably, I think it's a very good point that you're making, that it's much less on the numbers and the smartness of which you're going to attack all the numbers and find solutions. It's more or less creating awareness of that there is net value and there is integrated negotiation, and there are better ways of negotiating than my way or the highway, but that you cannot ignore sometimes that you also need to be distributive in order to get some of that value that you create through integrated negotiation from the table. So a few steps back, making the cases a bit simpler. I think it's a good approach.
Yeah, it doesn't matter where to start. The coming back, the 1 step or 2 step, or we can start the steps that we have it now. But the point is, as you mentioned, let Japanese think by themselves.
Okay. Well, I think that's a good case. I think the first step for me is to actually read through a number of case studies to see if I can find an interesting and challenging case that is simple enough to actually focus on the learning element and not the case at hand. That's another lesson learned, because maybe the case in itself was too much constructed and too much complicated in order to keep it simple and focus on actually the negotiation process itself. Okay, I think it's a good suggestion, and I believe that Uno-san agrees. You also okay?
I couldn't.
What do you want to do? What do you want to do next?
Looking at the panda case.
All right.
Not the panda case, but the video attached to it.
There is a video attached to it.
Sitting the stage.
Okay.
Yeah. If you go scroll down, I don't know if you're looking at the same page.
I already downloaded it.
Best
It's
in
on
class.
my hard disk.
Oh, best in class negotiation case.
It's a PDF?
Harvard?
It's
No.
a YouTube video.
There's a video. If you go down, I found the video, but it's not about the panda case. Maybe something else.
Okay.
Understanding how to arrange the meeting space is a key aspect. Maybe it's a really basic for negotiation.
Oh.
Preparing for negotiation.
Okay. It's from Harvard.
No, it's on the Harvard University website.
Okay.
It's a video.
Program on negotiation.
Video?
PON. Harvard University.
Video?
Yeah.
Well, why don't you send,
Harvard Law School.
why don't you send to us?
Which one?
Which side are you looking at?
I'll just send you.
You can jump. Is it successful recording?
I'm still recording it. PON cases.
Harvard Law School. Yeah. It's on the second.
Oh, what?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Maybe make it scroll down. There's
Oh,
something-
yes.
that's the home. If you go to home, there's a tab.
Sorry, I
On
did.
top. Go to home.
Yeah.
Maybe that was an option. And then I went to the mobile website. You saw this panda case, right?
Yeah, I think that's what I'm referring to.
But there's a video underneath it. But
Okay.
maybe it's going to mobile station.
It's free.
I think so. Job negotiation.
Cross-cultural negotiation video looks like good. This one video we can view video and then we can discuss about the issue. Okay, just have a look on video.
Where did
How
you-
did that when you scroll down?
Mhm.
No. I just sent you a link. I don't know if it shows this.
I'm here on Uno-san's
Google.
computer.
Google email.
Ah,
Google,
okay.
right?
All right. I mean, Google, you're right.
Email.
Mm.
Sent you a link.
The computer is working so hard, Uno-san. It's the same website, that's for sure.
But in a different.
A little bit, but oh,
Scroll down to the bottom. Oh, this one.
correct.
This is bigger. I just. What are you doing?
Oh,
Just play it.
Very short.
Setting the stage.
I teach negotiations and corporate law at Harvard Law School and also at Harvard Business School. And I'm kicking things off here this morning to try to, as it says, set the stage for productive negotiations. Give you a toolkit which you can use today, tomorrow, as you go back into the real situation starting next week, right away, and hopefully get to better outcomes, both in the short term and in the long term. So some specific tactics. How do you achieve win-win or interface negotiation? Number one, meeting in person. The moves we'll talk about are much better done in person than they are over the phone, clearly better than email, clearly better than texting. That's the worst. But many negotiations at even the highest levels are done by text messaging, not so good, right? Getting in person, being in front of each other can build trust. Manage the physical space. So for example, sit on the same side of the table as your counterpart. That communicates volumes about your willingness to work together on the problem. Here's a fun example from a couple months ago. This is a board, well-known company, evenly divided on a major decision. Tensions are running high. They have a board meeting, so I'm called in to, quote, moderate. That was important. I'm not going to be on one side or the other, but I'm called by one of the purple people. So here's the move. That's, I think, quite important. The board members are asked to, they're meeting at the law firm, not at their own company, but at the law firm because the tensions are so high. Law firms in D.C. And they're asked, because it's not their normal boardroom, to pick up their name card and put it where they'd like to sit.
I think you see, or I've seen this.
What's going to happen?
I haven't seen it.
Fight for
I just
space.
looked at it.
Let me show you. Here's the board table. This is probably not drawn to scale, but you can get the point. And so outside counsel shows up first, right? He's the service provider. He shows up first, so he's sitting there. Here's some of the yellow people start to show up. There's one of them shows up there. Purple guy shows up, picks up his card, goes there. Yellow guy goes there. Purple guy goes here. What's going on? This is, I think the unfortunate mistake, and I should have been aware of this myself and maybe advised outside counsel, was to say, you pick up your name. I mean, it seems so innocuous, but when that happens, you get this dynamic. So the paralegal shows up, sits there, another yellow person shows up. Now, at this point, I show up, and I'm told by outside counsel to sit next to him. Okay, so I'm sitting there, but I do notice this dichotomy between the purples and the yellows. And notice, I was brought in by the purples. I don't know if I said that correctly, but I was brought in by the purples. So I'm sitting on the purple side. Yellow guy shows up, purple guy, and pretty soon it's exactly like this. This is it. This is the board, and they're now about to begin the meeting. Now I'm thinking, what am I going to do here? This is bad. Because at least two things. One, it's not conducive to a meaningful discussion. It's going to be a fight, right? And you don't want to frame it that way. And two, I was brought in by the purples, right? And I'm sitting on the purple side of the table. How credible can I be to the yellows having sat on the purple side of the table? I've lost my credibility even before the meeting has started. I should not have let myself get in this position. But I think we've all been in this position where you see the physical space set up in a way that's not conducive to a good exchange. Well, what might you do?
That's how it.
You need to pay money.
Okay. This is just an ad.
Oh, it's kind of an ad, but it's a nice. I saw it. I don't know exactly why and how, but I saw this video. But there are a lot of cases on this, and basically I can look at a few and see if I can see the common denominator in them, and maybe come up with something that's more suitable for us, or model something after this. I think the key question, the key thing that I've learned is that making a technical negotiation is focuses too much on the technicalities of the negotiation itself. Yeah, and not on the process of negotiating, and why you don't necessarily need to give in to. Of course, you're going to pay this the much so much money, and what kind of tools you have in order to actually counter these kinds of negotiation tactics. And why these negotiation techniques maybe are not so good in order to get most things off the table. That's the things that we should be focusing on, and not whether it is should be 12 or 18 or 9. Or that's not so important.
One is looking for some material for the negotiation, and also if preferable, if you can find out Chinese negotiation skill is very deep knowledge is required to negotiate Chinese law. Normally, if you want to access Sun Tzu or 2036 strategy, but I'm talking about real Chinese continuous negotiation skill which I've written a book, and this is I'm submitting the translation. After translating English, I give it to you, but not yet. But if you can find it, always I'm talking about patience, listen to the counterpart, solution. I studied, but so negotiation skill different from Western. But Western negotiation skill, Chinese negotiation skill, we have to combine, get better result.
Well, this is one of the elements. Like cross-cultural negotiation will add an extra layer of complexity.
I saw cross-cultural negotiation, but I thought that for the things we are talking about, the book, you can have a look cross-cultural negotiation. No, almost right. Not this one. Almost right.
Not this one.
Not this one. Just that one. No, almost right. Not this one. No fun.
That
You delete it?
that PC is really slow.
It's recording. Yeah, it's recording.
It's books on down the page.
Oh, okay.
Books on the page. Home. You can check home.
Yeah, it's here.
Wow, this is good. Home. Yeah, here.
Correct.
No, down. Here.
Correct.
Yeah, here. They also they going to show only the 3 minutes.
What is there to teach about?
What to buy?
Yeah, and you need to be member and then pay $5 or $10.
Do you have a membership?
Not this one, but
このさん、you're かなり non-profit ね。Oh, $50. No, we don't need a downloadable format. Oh, there's only option to buy.
Oh, this is sample.
Let's see if we can get something for free. Cheap bastard.
So cheaper one is a university program. Do you know how to get this?
My name is Larry Suskind. We will have several people speaking to the question this evening of what does it mean to teach negotiation cross-culturally, and what does it mean to teach our students to negotiate cross-culturally. So we have two interconnected themes. What does it mean for how we teach in our classrooms here in our different schools and universities when we have people from different cultural backgrounds? Should we be saying something different for the room versus the other? Which is different from Eileen's question, which is how do we teach everybody in the room to negotiate cross-culturally? Are there general things we can say about that? But we're also very interested in if you get an assignment to go to a place, and that place isn't your usual place, and they said, oh, please come here and teach us what you teach, do you just do the same thing? You always do? Do you make any adjustment or modification? Do you ask some set of things beforehand in order to know what modifications do you make? Do you get feedback that tells you whether you made the right changes, assumptions, modifications, or not? We're interested in all those things.
University material.
Sorry?
University material.
Oh.
So you can find that lots of just access negotiation, hundred of materials coming out on site, on the site, and you can pick one to iTunes. But usually I'm picking podcast, but this one is university study. Many of those free.
Oh, I see.
You can pick one of those. It's free. Right?
Takai-san.
Yeah.
Question from Yuku.
No, nothing.
Oh.
Well, I just want to know if he's good here. Because he's there, right?
Yeah.
I just want to know if he's there.
Oh, Yuko was just interested whether you were still there.
Oh, I'm fine.
You were, right? Okay, I will look at iTunes and look for negotiation. I think that's
Looks good, right?
And actually, there's a lot of POM podcasts
Yeah.
on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict.
Oh, it's good.
Oh.
It's good.
Yeah, but I think it's a little bit.
He is going to challenge. Trump is going to challenge. We can prepare the negotiation scenario.
Okay. So next week, one step back, and base ourselves on a case, on an actual case, where we're going to actually design the negotiation from the negotiation document and design strategies as to how to resolve it.
Video, and then we discuss. You said you want to prepare material, or some cases we can find out some material.
Okay. Yeah, I think this video we don't need. This is more for teachers and how to teach negotiation. So we saved ourselves $50. Okay. Okay. Takashi-san, will you be in Tokyo next week?
No.
No.
No? Okay.
Maybe come in July.
In July?
Yeah, next month.
That's June.
June.
Oh, okay.
A little late.
Okay. All right, so middle of or late June. So any chance that we can get Kimoto
Join?
join? No.
Did you contact them? No? Or
He's mental sick maybe.
really?
You think so?
Seriously, or just joking?
I think he is available, but he doesn't come. I don't know why. He got them. But he just checked he bought my book, and he just messaged for us.
You should get him out from the house if he's
So
sick. He will get sicker if he stays.
so.
Yes.
I know.
Okay, I will see if I can
Maybe not to week he will come.
get in touch
I
with
don't ask him.
Okay.
You can send message for him.
And
Yeah.
I try to have my colleague on management to come into the school.
Okay, very good.
When?
Yeah, because I definitely need to build up some team, more bigger team.
Okay.
And I don't have the person, the colleagues in the management have to be trained.
Okay, so a good question is when are we going to do that? When would be necessary, you think, from their perspective? So which timelines? Because I think at the moment we are not quite ready yet.
Yeah. They have to prepare to sing. So the best way is to have them come one time
Okay.
and see what's happening here.
Okay. What is the level of English?
That's the problem.
Okay. All right. So it's better to do this in Japanese.
The Japanese, so you can make them aware that their English is not enough, and they have to learn more, much more.
Okay. So what you're saying is to do it in Japanese or to do it in English and to make them aware?
Now, of course, English.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm fine to do it in English. Japanese, that would be a little bit more of a challenge, but.
So Japanese, no meaning.
Okay. Oh, very good. Okay, then we do it in English. I will do it slowly, and I think we should aim like, well, maybe 3 weeks from now. What do you think?
Yeah. What? Yeah. I will talk to my management next week
Okay. Okay.
and see when and how this.
It would be nice if you would be here as well
Yeah.
to kind of like soften the blow. Okay, all right. That's well. That sounds like a plan. I will definitely spend time in looking at the materials that I found, whether what exactly these Harvard documents are, and how suitable they are for us. I think that your suggestion is good. Maybe focus less on the technicalities and more on the process of starting a negotiation, and then making clear through the negotiation process what kinds of elements you have to create awareness for integrative negotiation, distributed negotiation, negotiation planning document, issues, priorities, all these things that are important tools and guidelines when you are into negotiation process. Okay, very good. All right, Takai-san, thank you very much for joining.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, and see you next week. Monday we will not have a session, but next week we will have.
Okay.
Okay,
Oh, you're going
Thank
to
you
have
very
a
much.
next Monday?
not this Monday, the Monday after.
You sure?
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
Okay, that's fine.
Yes? Alright, I'm going.
And I just up your this today's presentation, but I need your material on the school.
Alright.
I updated your 2 hours video.
Okay. Video? Really?
No, voice. You also use just set up
okay.
your video tonight.
Is it like designated to the women school members? So that's the website?
Hmm?
This website is only